Hello and welcome to the Joystick Drift Podcast, the show where we drift off just as much as a joystick. I'm your host, Nick, and today, Melina and Alex aren't here, actually. It's just me and Colin, because we're going to talk about Xenoblade today. And I will start off this episode by saying there will be spoilers for all three mainline Xenoblade games. So if you have not finished Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, or 3 and don't want to be spoiled, this is not the episode for you. But if you are a hardcore Xenoblade fan like we are, this is definitely the episode for you. So, with that being said, Colin, how are you doing today?
So does that mean you shouldn't watch this episode because, like, you didn't play Xenoblade 2?
So, what I'll say about that is, yes. Because it's fine, because I've already been spoiled on all the major... Like, I watched an hour-long video on why Pyra and Mithra are good characters. So, I'm pretty far spoiled on the game. Doesn't mean I won't play it at some point, but I'm already spoiled.
I still say Pyra and Mithra are overrated.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's just the stereotypical... anime girl hot, so must equal
okay, but like
good.
My point is that Pyra and Mithra aren't even the best anime girl in that game.
Who is it?
Brigid, 100%.
Hold on, I don't know who that is. Is that the?
It's literally like.
Is that the blue hair one?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's literally the antithesis of Pyra.
Neat.
But also just a better character.
We're already starting off with the hot takes. Sheesh.
It's hot.
We can't do this. We're like 3 minutes in. But it's okay.
Yeah, Xenoblade, am I right?
These truly are the Xenoblade Chronicles.
Chronicles, yeah.
So, as we always start off the podcast, also video watchers, if you see me keep looking over like this, it's because I'm recording the podcast today. Usually Alex does it, but he's not here. So I'm recording it today, and it's on my second monitor, and I'm double checking to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Bro, you could have asked me to record it.
Yeah, it's true, but I already had it set up, and then you'd have to send it to me, and it's just so much of a hassle, and it's fine.
I'm the one who has the gaming PC.
I know. It's too late, though. You can record it next time. I'll tell you next time, and you can set it up on OBS.
All right.
So, as we start off every episode of this podcast, Colin, what have you been playing recently? Because we're a gaming podcast.
What have I been playing recently? I've been playing a lot of like kind of beat 'em up games recently. I've been playing. I just finished Devil May Cry 5, and that was a really good game. But other games I played, one of the more recent games I also beat was Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. So that was really good. A lot of memes.
Alex is a really big Metal Gear Solid Revengeance fan. He loves that game.
Metal Gear Solid Revengeance does not exist.
What?
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance exists. And like the best part is that Metal Gear Rising Revengeance has a subtitle, but it's the only game in the Rising series. Well, series, like sub-series. But that's also just because of development stuff. So, but
Fair.
Yeah, I got to play the funny Standing Here I Realize game and funny Boo Womp game.
Womp.
Doctor.
I love that video. So, like, you sent me that video. I love it so unconditionally. I saved it to my phone. It is beautiful. It's a real meme.
Disable my Boo Womp inhibitors.
I low-key have not played anything except for Fortnite. I'm gonna be honest. Listen, I've been kind of on a gaming drought ? Since finishing Xenoblade, just because when I finished Xenoblade, it was in such a it's just in a bad spot because obviously Tears of the Kingdom isn't coming out till next year, and Persona was a month away. I have it now by the time this episode comes out, and the DLC, the second wave will be out, which we're not talking about today because we haven't played it yet. It's not out. It comes out tomorrow at 8 p.m.
It does?
Yeah. It drops on the 13th at 8 p.m. Central Time, so 9 p.m. Eastern.
I should buy the DLC.
I went out and bought the DLC today. I downloaded it, so I have it now. So I've just kind of been in a little bit of a gaming drought, just because Xenoblade was such a high for me.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to do a ton of the post-game stuff until I got the DLC. So that way I could kind of like do everything together. So, I mean, the only post-game I did was I unlocked Melia and Nia as heroes. And then I was like, nope, okay, we're done.
I was so happy they did that.
Bro,
like,
me too.
I didn't know about it until like maybe I was like maybe 3/4 through the game. But I was really, really happy that they did that.
Yeah. It was a nice little addition they put in. So yeah, other than that, I've been playing Fortnite. I talked about it in another episode. I dabbled in Lego Star Wars a little bit. Once I get Persona 5, that'll be my like really digging into Persona 5. I'm looking forward to that so much. That'll be my big game to probably get me through the end of the year, I would assume. That I also question: are you gonna get Sonic Frontiers?
No.
Dang.
I honestly, I think the last Sonic game I actually played was Adventure 2, and I played the first stage of Adventure 2.
Wow. Dang, that's crazy. I'm gonna get Frontiers. Well, I might not get it, but I'm gonna put it on my Christmas list, and if I don't get it for Christmas, it's not a big deal. If I do get it, okay, cool, I have the new Sonic game. I also want to get Splatoon 3 because I've heard it's really good.
It's amazing,
and I just don't have $60 laying around.
Even if you haven't played 1 or 2, it's still really fun.
Well, it's that kind of game where you don't have to play the other two to jump into it, which, you know, they said you could do that for Xenoblade 3, but I wouldn't advise it. I mean, you can. Technically, you can.
It's going to be a better game if you play it, you know.
Yeah. And I have thoughts about that specifically, but we'll get to that. So, yeah, that's what I've been playing. So before we jump into our main topic of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I want to take a second to plug all the social medias. You can follow us on Instagram at Joystick Drift Pod, and you can follow us on YouTube, the Joystick Drift Podcast, Spotify, Apple, the Joystick Drift Podcast. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can give us a 5-star review, and on Apple Podcast, you can actually leave a review. And if you leave a review and like write in, we'll read it on the show. So, yeah, that's cool. We're working on YouTube stuff, which is going to be fun to do some YouTube stuff. This is, I would say, it started out as a more like Spotify podcast type thing, but now it's definitely grown into be more of a YouTube podcast, and I think that's okay. There's a market for, like, that's the biggest market for us is YouTube. So if you want to follow us on YouTube, you can like, comment, all that stuff. We love seeing your comments. We've been getting comments on episodes and clips and stuff, so it's been great. So yeah, that's our obligatory social plug out of the way. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles, what I would describe as one of Nintendo's underrated franchises, because it is so freaking good. But those are my thoughts. Colin, how did you get into Xenoblade? What's been your Xenoblade journey up to 3, if you will?
Xenoblade 3. It's a very good game. It's hard to rank the 3 games, mainly because like I really like 1 and I really like 2. And I also just adore 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when it comes to ranking them, 1 is obviously going to be at the top for me, just because it was the first game I played, but I also just put a ton of time into it, and I didn't put as much time into 3 as I thought I would. But story-wise, I really loved 3. I think it was exactly what I wanted, and it was just overall, like, it wasn't perfect. There were some issues that I had with the game, but aside from that, it was still just it delivered on what we were expecting.
Yeah, I agree. I think in terms of ranking, I obviously can't rank 2 because I haven't played it. I've watched a handful of cutscenes, and that's about it. But I kind of feel about 3 the way you feel about 1, just in the sense of, like, I love Xenoblade 1. Definitive Edition is the version I played. I never played it on the Wii or the 3DS, which is probably a good thing. But I think for me, I really love the story of 3. I really love the characters in 3. And something I think, like, 3 does really well is the fact that you can switch between all 6 characters without having to go into the menu and then, like, change up your party of 3 and then change who's the leader. It's just ZL, R, or L, and you can just swap through them right there. That really got me into the characters more so than the first one. Because in the first one, I only played Shulk, unless it was required by the story to play someone else. So in doing 3, that got me a lot more attached to the characters, because there were times where I would, like, spend 5 hours running around as Tyon because he was playing a class that I wanted to play. So I think I got a lot more playtime in with each of the characters, but also I dumped a shit ton of time into Xenoblade 3. Like, what did you end up putting in? I think it's like 75?
75 to 80.
Yeah. And then there's me with 105.
I mean, I put 130 in Definitive Edition.
Yeah,
so.
I remember when you got Definitive Edition and you just, like, I would get on and see you online. I'm like, oh, there he goes. Colyn's playing Xenoblade again. And then a year later, I was playing Xenoblade. So what can I say? So yeah, personally, for me, it is a very good game. Personally, for me, I would put 3 above 1, which is really hard. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll get into this, but it's really hard because obviously 1 has a lot of good things going for it. And the one thing that I don't like is the way they did the combat system, especially compared to the way it is in 3. I feel like it's a lot more smooth and just easygoing experience in 3. And I'm able to hit combos a lot easier in 3 than I was in 1, because I had to, like, scroll all the way over to get to backslash and then go all the way back over to get to my Minato arts. Whereas in 3, it's like Y, X, A, B, easy. So, yeah.
See, but I find it funny that you're talking about that, because you texted me when you started the game and you're like, bro, they mapped all the attacks and the arts and stuff like that to the face buttons, and I was like, bro, they did that in 2.
Yeah, it was a good improvement, Monolith. Take notes. Don't go back to Xenoblade 1.
I disagree. I think the combat system in 1 was perfect. And it only got improved in Xenoblade X, which is a controversial opinion, I know.
Bring Xenoblade X to the Switch, damn it. Do it.
Yeah, I've played every single
Put all 4 mainline
Xenoblade
games on Switch. Do it. You won't.
But X isn't a mainline game. Anyway.
It's not? Oh, well, I
No.
guess it's not. It's a spinoff,
No.
kind of.
X is a spinoff. It was considered to be a spiritual successor to Xenoblade 1 before they even had ideas for Xenoblade 2. But
Right.
because Xenoblade 1 started to pick up a lot of popularity with Xenoblade X, they decided to go through and do 2. But the combat system in X is really interesting, and a lot of people kind of sleep on it, where a lot of it, what you could do was you could switch on the fly between ranged combat and melee combat. And it was really interesting. And the class system from 3 is actually from X. And they just improved it a lot. Because a lot of the classes in X were very, very just your run-of-the-mill kind of heavy hitter range or, just tank. They didn't really have a lot of agility tanks, which came from 2, which I think was really good that they carried that back over.
Yeah, I really love the class system, honestly. I think it added an extra challenge to me because I always wanted to have that balanced party of like 2 of each role. So having to balance it out with like, okay, well, Tyon's level 10 in the healer category, and I don't have another healer to stick him on, but Senna's not ready to be swapped from defense to healer, so it was kind of like figuring out the puzzle pieces to keep all of it even.
And that actually was my biggest issue with the class system in 3s, that I feel having everybody go to level 10 was just way too slow. And then the unlock window and just everything that was there really needed to be sped up because I feel it was hard having everybody at level 10 for a certain class trying to unlock another class for somebody else, where a lot of issues that some of my friends had was that it was hard because then you had a team of basically only attackers and maybe 1 healer because you were trying to get the other classes unlocked, where I feel what would have been great was that each character and each party member had a attacker, a blocker, and a healer class. Instead of having like one person has 2 attackers, the other person has 2 tank classes, and then the other person has like 3 healers. It's like, I think it would have been a lot more broad, and it would have helped if they had that type of just, spread out, even class system for everybody.
Yeah. And I also think locking your progression at level 10 was a bad idea. I think, and I understand if you do the Ascension quests, you can get it up to 20, but I also feel like 10 was too low, especially for what you were saying about unlocks, because I've run into that problem a lot where, whoever is the class inheritor, by the time they're level 10, you're like this far away from unlocking it for the next person, which would then, like, at that point, it would snowball and everyone else would get it. But it's just having it for that one other person. And you'd have to do, like, CP boosts and stuff to get it there, which, by the way, those didn't work for, like, the first month and a half of the game, apparently, which was really frustrating. So, good job, Monolith. You put in a big feature and then it didn't even work.
Hey, that happens a lot.
It's true. They fixed it, so it's okay now.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I didn't even know it wasn't working until someone pointed it out on Twitter. I was like, "Oh, it's not working."
I didn't know it wasn't working until now. I never used it.
Really? You never did any of the cooking boosts or anything?
No.
I did
it more in 2.
I ran around with an EXP boost like 95% of the time. Especially, I did a lot of grinding before I fought Zed, final boss, because, so I don't know if you know this, but there are weapon upgrades for the main blades. So I went around and fought, I think I've done 90% of the super bosses to get the origin shards to upgrade those weapons. So while I was doing that, I was running around with a 15% EXP boost. And then I ended up going into the final fight at level 85, which I don't understand how anyone could do that fight at 75. Between 75 and 80, there's no way. It's not possible.
I did it like 77.
Yeah, I did it at 85 and I died
I guess I'm just a god gamer.
Well, didn't you die like twice?
I died once.
Ah, yeah, okay, that's not bad. I died once, too.
I died once right before the end of the fight, and it was at like midnight, and I was just like, I'm turning the game off, and then I went to sleep.
Okay, I'm done. I died right at... So you have... Which, I do want to talk about the final fight, which I guess we can do now. Everything's going to be out of order, so just accept that. Accept that fate now. The final fight, I was kind of scared at the very beginning when you first start fighting him, and the health meter is like moving down at a millimeter every like 10 attacks, I'm like, oh, this is not good. But then when I realized it was like that for story purposes, I really liked that. And how you would slowly re-unlock the chain attack and the Ouroboros abilities. And then once you unlocked all of it, it was like, okay, well now we're flying through it. Like this is easy. So I made it through that. I made it through the first phase of his giant floating head. And then on the second phase of his giant floating head is when I died. So then I had to go back and do it all over again. And then I beat the game. I got pretty close to dying, though. Quite a few times, because I didn't have enough healers. Which, you know, it's fine.
See,
I didn't die.
What was great was I had lands on Signifier. So whoever had lands in the one where it's split into 3, they just won immediately because I just had like 4 pages of buffs.
Yeah. I went in. Who was your hero for that fight? Who'd you take in with you?
Miyabi.
Yeah. I took in Izzard, and for sentimentality purposes, and because I had spent so much time getting the freaking origin shards to upgrade the blades, I sent everyone in with their base classes, which was probably not the best idea. Because aside from Noah and Sword Fighter, that's the only good like base class that anyone has. Everyone else, I feel like,
disagree.
Really?
Disagree. All of their classes are good.
Well, no, I'm not saying the classes aren't good. I think the classes are good. I just feel like I could have gone in with a better... Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I think the classes are good, and their base classes on those characters are good. I could have gone into that fight with a much better class lineup. Oh,
yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. See, what's great... Actually, speaking of the final boss, so you know how when you fight the, what is it? You fight X and Y, the giant heads? I never saw X the entire game. So I was like, cool, that's what she looks like.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yeah. Because it's an optional side quest.
You never see X unless you do, I think it's Uni's hero quest.
Yeah, it's Uni's Ascension quest, and there's so much stuff in this game. Like, there's so much story stuff that I didn't realize was left out. And, like, you end up fighting a ton of consoles that are just never mentioned again. Which, by the way,
there's at least 26.
We still have not seen Console A. And I feel like that's intentional. Unless it's for one of the DLC heroes, because in the trailer for Eno, it's shown at the end you're fighting a console. So there could be it could be for one of the DLC heroes. They just throw A in there, or could be Alvis.
No, I don't know. I have a better theory. Console A is the architect.
Ooh.
And Console Z is Zanza.
Ooh.
I just it just hit me when you said that, because like my big theory about Console Z was that Console Z was actually the kind of just mental remains of Zanza, because a lot of his motivations and stuff like that are very, very similar to Zanza, and a lot of people who I've told about this, they're like, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, because
it's like a lot of the concepts that are there, like at one of Zanza's first lines is those who are born from me will return to me, and that's one of the biggest plot points of Xenoblade 3. And also wanting to stay in the endless now and repeat the cycle. That's a huge thing for Zanza.
that was the whole, that was his whole shtick in the first game. Was that cycle of okay, well, you die, come back to me, we just keep doing this over and over and over again. So, no, I mean, there's a lot left to interpretation with this game, especially when you get towards the ending and the things that were never mentioned. So we'll see. Oh
yeah, things that weren't mentioned, like the name of Noah's sword, unless you do that one side quest.
Wait, is there an actual side quest that gives the name of the sword?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think its name is Truth Singer. I'll have to look it up. But
well, shit, I'm gonna have to find that. I haven't done that quest yet.
Right now. Noah Sword.
So he did name the sword. I was gonna say we went the whole game. We also never find out.
I'm not looking for Lucky 7 because
we also never found out the name of his kid either.
Yeah,
like just
Ned.
No, that kid doesn't get a name.
No, his name's Ned.
His name is Yorin because we feel sad about Yorin. Just saying.
Damn Noid looking ass.
Can we mention how
he looks like the Noid?
Can we mention how Yorin, he made those little like wooden doll things, and he starts out, when you see that, he already has the console outfit on. Like everyone else is in their normal battle gear, and then he has a console outfit, and I'm like,
yeah,
that had to have been intentional.
And fun fact, did you know when you first encounter which one is it? Is it console O?
Maybe?
I don't remember. The first console, the guy, the no, it's not console.
The one who shows up right when
he's actually he's already in the fusion with Yorin.
Because that's D.
Yeah, D.
D's nuts.
Yeah.
What a guy. He's just a maniac, honestly. I spent the whole game waiting for this dude to die. I got so mad when he shot Nia right through the chest. I was like, okay, guys, come on. This was completely preventably avoidable.
No, but do you want to know the best part? So the best part about all of that scene and stuff like that is Nia is like a busted healer in Xenoblade 2. So it's just like any shot that is not entirely fatal to her, she will just live. It doesn't matter.
Bam, gotcha. Can't kill me, bitch.
But anyway.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna look at my notes because I got a crap ton of notes.
Notes.
What will the story DLC be? We can't get into the story DLC this early. It will happen, but it is not happening now. I'm really curious. Okay, I'm a little confused on the whole worlds fusing thing. Do you understand that at all? As a lore aficionado?
As a lore aficionado. So what do you mean by the whole world's fusing thing? Like,
because I understand, like, with the experiment that was done in Xenoblade 1, that, like, split that world apart, and then we ended up with Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2. And those are two separate worlds. And, like, Zanza is one side of Klaus, and the Architect is the other side, but, like, they're just split across the two. So, and I get it. In Xenoblade 3, the worlds are trying to refuse. Like, they're trying, it's trying to come back together, which makes a lot of sense. So, what I'm confused about is that when they rebooted Origin, why was it that they were like, okay, well, boop, they're going to go back apart? Because to my understanding of what had been explained in the game was that Origin was supposed to give a seamless sort of transition into the fused world. That was the point of Origin. So it wasn't like, bam, and then everybody dies and it starts over. It was supposed to be like, okay, we're going to save your consciousness inside this thing, and then when the world's fused, it's just going to boop, and everybody pops back out like nothing happened. And that's not what happened. The world's drifted apart again, and I'm confused as to why that happened.
I think it was because of Origin, like, not being operational again, that, like, it was just kind of reversed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think, well, who knows? It might be explained. We never know. I think that's what it is, though. I think it's very much left up to interpretation of what actually was the cause of that.
Well, they left a lot of things up to interpretation, especially the ending where Noah hears the Offseer flute and then walks away, and we're like, ooh, what does that mean? And then the game's just over. Also, I, for some reason, naively believed that the post game of the game was actually post game. As like, I don't understand why I thought that though, because I've played like Zelda, where post game does not take place after the actual post game. But I remember texting you. I was like, "Wait, but the world's drifted apart. How's the post game work? Like, maybe the post credit scene will explain why everything comes back together." And you're like, "No, it actually the post game is before the final boss. Like, if you want to fight the final boss again, you can. If you want to put yourself through that." And I'm like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." So, I don't know.
Yeah. See, what's funny is, like, I know we gave a spoiler warning for all of the series, but spoiler warning for X, a, like, huge thing in X was a lot of the artificial humans thing. And it's like, they straight up took that from X and just made it better. Because I will admit, that doesn't get revealed until, like, the end of X, and it's really bad. Like, it's a really bad reveal. It's
which is why they'll never bring X to the Switch.
Yeah.
It's
X
not going to happen.
It really didn't sell that well. And if they do really put X on the Switch, it's gonna have to be very heavily redone.
Yeah.
To a point where it is paced better.
And at that point, I feel like if you're gonna put that much effort into it, you might as well just make a new Xenoblade game.
Yeah. Yo, who's ready for Xenoblade 4?
Xenoblade Chronicles 4! Okay, I asked this question to Melina and Alex, and they had an okay answer, but I'm going to ask, do you think Nintendo wants Xenoblade to be their Final Fantasy? Like that big JRPG that just kind of keeps going and never has like a hard, like we're rebooting type thing, and it just keeps going.
Well, it already is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No,
that's true.
No, like it already is. Because here's the thing. I don't know if Alex or Melina talked about it, but Xenogears, the first game in the Xeno series, was actually meant to be Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
It was originally going to be made as a like concept story for Final Fantasy VII, but then they splintered off from Square and then made Monolith Soft, and so then they made Xenogears, then they made Xenosaga, then they made Xenosaga 2 and Xenosaga 3, and now we're at Xenoblade.
So, do you think for the next game they'll change from Blade to
I think so.
something else? Like it'll be Xeno something,
I
then be
really
totally different?
I want 3 to be the end of the Xenoblade. No, I'm not saying. I want it to be.
No more Xenoblade games. We're done.
No. I was gonna say I don't. I want it to be the end of the Xenoblade Chronicles. But no. I want Xenoblade 3 to be the definitive end of the Xenoblade saga.
Right.
I know I say that when there's literally Xenosaga right there, but you know what? It's fine.
Right. Well, I see what you're saying.
But yeah, I want that. I want it to just be a trilogy, kind of like how Xenosaga was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're gonna do that. Which, if they don't, I'm gonna be confused. But
like, I think they can all be connected in like loose ways, but they don't have to be like. We don't have to get Xenoblade Chronicles 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah,
you could just do Xeno whatever and make it the next thing.
Yeah, because a lot of like they all reference each other. Like one of the original Ouroboros is just straight up the main character from Xenogears.
Yeah,
or he looks a lot like him. And then Cosmos from Xenoblade 2 was from Xenogears. And then Telos was from Xenogears, not Xenogears, Xenosaga. It was from Xenosaga. And they were there. So, you know, who knows? We might get Cosmos and Telos as heroes later on, which I would be really mad. Because I still, to this day, have not pulled Cosmos or Telos in Xenoblade 2.
Do you think there will be more DLC than what they're letting on, or do you think the 4 waves is it and they're done and move on to the next thing?
I don't know.
Because
it depends.
Right now,
honestly.
It's just 2 heroes and then a story DLC, which we don't know anything about the second hero or the DLC or the story DLC. So I'd be interested to see if they have something that they're not talking about. Like maybe the wave 3 is a lot bigger and has more than 1 hero in it. Low-key would really love to play as Shulk and Rex if you want to add them to the game, because the freaking Monado and the Aegis are on the DLC cover art, so they're there for a reason. Yeah, unless they're really just baiting us, which I would kind of be pissed if they did that. Because I went into it.
Bro, it's Monolith Soft. What do you expect?
I expect anime titties. That's what I expect. Which we did get a lot of those in this game, and I respect them for that.
See, man, it's really funny because a lot of people really like to not like the designs in 2. And they fault 2 for that, when it really wasn't 2's fault for doing that. It was all of them, and all of the blades and all of that were made by different designers.
Yeah.
Like, each of them were made by completely different people.
Which is a really cool concept.
It is. It's an interesting concept, but they're all putting their own style into their own characters. So it's like, can you fault them?
Right.
Obviously
I will say,
you can,
I
but
think,
just don't,
I think out of the 3 games, Xenoblade 3 has the best, like, style, like art style. Not to like put shade on any the other 2, but I think especially when they first revealed the game, my big go-to was that key art of Noah and Mio and like all the other characters, and I kept going back to that. And I'm like, this is character design. This is like peak character design, and I think they really knocked it out of the park. They did a good job this game,
Man,
so I appreciate that.
I want to see all the cool art, but still don't have my art book.
Oh, I've seen some stuff from inside the art book. It's fire. There's some stuff in there you're really gonna like, but I won't say anything else about it because you said you wanted to go in blind.
There was somebody on Twitter that was just like, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has been out for 3 to 4 months, and it is still setting Nintendo's site on fire.
Okay. Hey, Nintendo, you know how you can fix that problem? Put out the special
Fix
edition.
your site.
No. Put out the special edition to other retailers. Shocker. You'd think that if your store goes down, that means the demand is so high that you could put it out to other retailers like GameStop, Walmart, Amazon, and you could make a freaking killing on this special edition. Because now there's people like me who finished the game and want the cool stuff, but you're not going to give it to me because I didn't jump in the pre-order window in July when I didn't know I was going to be this emotionally attached to the game.
No, it wasn't just July. You gotta think.
Oh, that's true. It was like June.
It was
when
June,
the pre-orders dropped.
And there were two pre-order windows, and then people's orders got canceled as well. And they were like, "What the fuck?" I censored myself there.
Good job. I love the memes of like the
Wario.
What Wario? But then there's also like the Zed memes of like, yes, the endless now. We're never getting these things, and I feel so bad. Even if they just that's one thing that really bothers me about Nintendo is they do all their cool shit, but it's on the Nintendo store, and I'm like, okay, well, I want a really cool steelbook case for my Xenoblade thing. Oh, it's not available anymore, and also only on your store. Okay, if they do that for Tears of the Kingdom, I'm gonna riot. I promise you, I'm gonna riot.
They will.
The only reason they do it too is because they know it'll sell out.
Yep.
It's the only reason they'll do it is because they know they can do it. Ugh, I hate it. Well, maybe not, because they didn't do it for Bayonetta, and they're not doing it for Fire Emblem either. The new Fire Emblem, like Divine Edition or whatever, is up at Amazon and GameStop and Best Buy and stuff. So maybe they saw how bad the Xenoblade stuff was, and now they're like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. Maybe. What are the odds that Nintendo actually learns from their mistakes? Non-existent.
Well. If it isn't the consequences of my own action.
Yeah. Maybe you should fix your shit, Nintendo. Just a thought.
Man, side note, Bayonetta 3, that's going to be a good game, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, that comes out
Like-
this week, like 2 days from when this episode comes out. So
I'll
I'm
be
assuming
playing-
you're going to get it. Yeah. Are you going to go back and get the other two physically when they have
No.
the physical release?
I'm getting Bayonetta 3 digitally.
No, stop. Don't be a part of the digital population. You can't do
It's
that.
easier.
No, stop. You're the reason Nintendo gets away with putting stuff on their store. What a goober. I mean, I guess you get more gold points for it.
Did you really just call me a goober?
Yeah, you did.
Hey, maybe
What kind
I
of,
don't want to have to take this and go, oh, wow, there's nothing here. When I can literally just go on my Switch and say, hey, look, that's a game, and play the game.
Why is your Xenoblade cartridge still in the case? Do you not have a Switch case?
You know the best part? It's not. It's
Wait, is
Legends
that-
Arceus.
Oh, I saw it from afar. I was like, why is your Xenoblade cartridge in the case? Like, do you have a thing for your physical cartridges, like a carrying case? No?
I don't buy a lot of games physically.
I buy every game physically if I can. Is it extra work to put in the cartridge? Absolutely. But also, look at my nice little stack of cases over there.
Like, hold on.
It's so fulfilling.
I'm getting all of my physical Switch games out right now. This is gonna be a lot more work than it should be. Yeah.
Do you
I
at
think
least
that's-
have Breath of the Wild physical?
I think.
Oh, well, that's not a reassuring answer.
I haven't played. Yeah, I do. This is all the ones I could find. Like, I could buy a carrying case, but why would I spend extra money and I have all of these when I could literally just buy it digitally and just play the game on my Switch and just
What?
buy an SD card?
What game is that in the sleeve? There's one case that has a sleeve around it. Which game is that?
Monkey.
Ah, yes, Monkey.
Oh, Monkey's falling.
Oh no,
Monkey's
don't let
falling.
Monkey fall. Art book.
Yeah, there's an art book for Monkey.
There's no game. It's actually just an art book.
I never beat this game. I need to beat it.
At least you're not one of those people who buys like the Fortnite physical edition or the Overwatch physical edition that has a
Bold of you to
code
assume I
inside.
even buy Fortnite.
Well, no, I listen.
Listen, the only reason I'm gonna buy Fortnite anything is if JoJo goes to Fortnite.
Ooh,
Like, that's it.
I mean they put Dragon Ball in there, so
They
maybe
put Naruto as
will.
well.
So
Goku can hit the gritty.
Naruto can dab. That's pretty poggers.
Yeah. You know who else can dab? My Inkling and, well, Octoling in Splatoon 3.
Gotta hit him with the. Are you gonna get the Splatoon 3 amiibos that they just revealed this week?
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to go in and pre-order them at GameStop.
I do too. I'll probably pre-order them through Best Buy. Anyway, hey, you guys want to know it's a great game that
Metroid
everyone
Dread.
should play? Metroid Dread.
Great
Hold on.
game.
It's a phenomenal game. You should play Metroid Dread on the Nintendo Switch.
Please
that
do.
Came
It
out
was such a
that
fun
came out a
game.
year ago, like 4 days ago.
Yep.
As of when this podcast was recorded, when it comes out, it's gonna be like.
Yeah, it's
3
gonna
weeks.
be. Yeah, it's fine.
But anyway, it's a great game. You should play Metroid Dread on the Nintendo Switch. It's phenomenal.
It's only $59.99,
Samus Aran.
and if you wait till Black Friday, I guarantee you it'll be on sale
It will.
because they always
And
put
you know
games
what you
on
can
sale.
do? You can buy the Samus and Emmy amiibo because they're still there.
They're still sitting there warming shelves.
Hey, you
I-
guys know it's also a great game. I know we're entirely off topic right now, but I don't
We are.
care.
We'll get
I'm
back. It's
inflating
okay.
I'm inflating the time of this podcast. I don't care. You guys know what's another great game that came out like 2 or 3 days ago? Persona 5 Royal. That's going to be a great game, you know? You should actually play it because, you know, you're a Persona fan. You should play your favorite game of all time, right? Look at the posters I have from Fangamer. This is not sponsored by Fangamer. I hate to break it to you. It is
Nor
not.
is it sponsored by Nintendo.
I wish it was sponsored by Fangamer. Hey, Fangamer, you should email us.
You should email us. Give us a ad spot. We'll sit here and chill. Can I become a part of the Nintendo Ambassador Program?
Fangamer sponsors people.
Can I become a part of the Nintendo Ambassador Program and get games for free? Although, granted, on the way they send out games, it's like, oh yeah, you want to review the new Fire Emblem Warriors? Well, we'll send you a code 2 weeks after release, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, have fun putting out your Fire Emblem review. But if you buy the game because it comes out on the eShop before we get the code or the physical edition to you, you actually still have to say that you're sponsored by us because we did send you a copy. Even though the one you're reviewing right now is the one that you paid for with your own money, but we did still sponsor this video. So Nintendo, try harder, please. Do it. Anyway,
Persona 5 Royal.
Xenoblade. Oh, no. Once I finish Persona, we're doing an episode on Persona.
I'm
and we can have Melina on that one too, because she's finished Persona. Maybe I'll get Alex to do
She's
it
played
too.
Persona 5?
Yeah.
Which one?
Persona 5.
Regular or Royal?
Regular.
She needs to play Royal.
Because she gave me a lecture on the last episode about, well, first she thought that Royal was a sequel.
No!
Just the
Strikers.
DLC. That's what I said. I was like, no, Strikers is the DLC. So, yeah. She's only played the first one. And, you know, I have other school friends who are like, you know, you need to play Persona 5, not Persona 5 Royal. Because
they're wrong.
Royal added a bunch of stuff. So it's not the same game as Persona 5. And I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. And you know what? I don't care. We're going to, once again, we're inflating the time of this episode. I don't care. If you've made it here and you're here, comment down below that you're here for the Persona part. Anyway,
my favorite Xenoblade game, Persona 5.
Yeah. Anyway, so the thing about Persona 5 Royal is a lot of people really like to say, oh, Persona 5 Royal added stuff that just made the game not flow very well. The thing about it is, if you play Royal first, you don't notice what's been added in.
That's what I'm saying. It's not going to matter to me.
Like, that was my point. I played Royal first. And I went back to play the original, and I'm like, there's stuff missing. This isn't
Also, don't
fun.
forget the absolutely absurd amount of Kasumi pictures you sent me while you were playing Persona. Like,
hey, don't at me. Hey, don't at me.
I would ask this man a question on text, and instead of giving me a response, he would send me a Kasumi fan art. Like, the amount of work I would have to do to get an actual answer out of him.
Dude, it was that or Camilla from Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it was one of the two, because he just didn't want to answer. You haven't played Three Houses, have you?
No.
I want to play it so bad, but I just... Female Byleth was the poll, and that's about it. Kind of want to restart the game and switch to male Byleth. Just because I feel like I got my fill on female Byleth, and I'm ready to just restart or make another save file. So maybe I'll get to that game eventually.
Yeah,
there's a lot of time between when Persona 5 comes out and when Tears of the Kingdom comes out. So
I thought you were saying between now and when Persona 5 comes out. I'm like,
oh yeah,
bro, Persona 5 comes out in like 9 days.
Yeah, it comes out next week. I need to go pay off my GameStop pre-order. I got the Steelbook too, which is pretty fire. So yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You said you really love the story, so let's talk about the story. This game can only be described as an emotional roller coaster, because you will go from feeling like you are on cloud 9 to, oh, now I'm depressed in the span of 20 minutes. Overall, the story is great. My only thing I didn't like was the ending, but we'll get to that. Um,
The only thing I didn't like was the end of chapter 5.
no, stop. You're lying. You have
So
to be lying.
is it all right? It's time for my big hot take.
Oh no, you have to
so-
be lying.
I really liked the ending of chapter 5. I think it was really cool. But my biggest problem with it, and I think the resolution was good for it, I think what they needed to do was they did not need to have M be the one who dies. They needed to actually have Mio die, but M join the party.
Oh, so instead
And
of
I think
switching,
that would have been
okay.
that would have been a lot better, and the game would have just remained the same.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Because I don't know how it works. I know they mentioned Mobius. No, like they have all the memories of their, like every incarnation they've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if M would have had our Mio's memories.
Like that's the point. It's like I wanted it to be a different character.
Right. You wanted it to just switch.
Because I think that would have just been better development for Noah. And like, don't get me wrong, I think Noah was a really good character. I just think it would have made Noah just kind of have to go through a lot of stuff that I feel he needed to go through.
Right.
In that moment.
I will say, well, here's the thing. I think Chapter 5, so I wrote this down on my notes. Chapter 5 does a really good job at subverting the usual trope of when bad things happen, something good is going to happen to get us out of this situation. Because the entire time I was watching that cutscene, I'm like, okay, the lost numbers are going to bust in and save them. And then they cut to that cutscene of Gondor and Monica, which, by the way, all the homies hate Gondor. Worst character in the entire game.
I absolutely hate
bar
Gondor.
Shania. But Gondor's pretty high up there for worst character in the entire game. Anyway, they even cut to that and you think, okay, well, the lost numbers are coming to save us, which they do, but it's not where you think it would be. So the whole time you're in the cell, you're like, okay, someone's going to come bust us out. We're going to break out. We're going to save Mio. Like, something's going to happen. I thought at some point they were going to have Noah or someone kill Mio so that she could go back into the reincarnation cycle, as opposed to, like, being sent off and not being able to come back. But, you know, they didn't do that, which is fine. I think that would have been kind of stupid because then we still would have been left without Mio. So that really wasn't a resolution. So you get to the part where they're all like knelt down outside. And it's also really interesting because you know that the Nia there is fake because you fought fake Melia, which very emotional for me. I did not want to do that one bit, but if you've listened to any bit of the podcast, you know I'm the biggest freaking Melia simp on the planet. So that was a lot.
Bro,
for me.
I'm not just a Melia simp. I'm a Jenna Coleman simp. I was a fan of Doctor Who.
Well, guess I'm watching Doctor Who.
Did you not know Jenna Coleman was in Doctor Who?
I knew that, but it was one of those like repressed things that it was not immediate knowledge.
She's not in Doctor Who until like one of the like worst parts of
That's a
Doctor
shame.
Who. It's like a lot of people don't like her run. She wasn't ever the Doctor, but
Well, you know what? She's a gem.
she was a
so
companion
stop
to
it.
the Doctor, and a lot of people weren't a big fan of how they were taking that, and it just wasn't great. But
I guess that makes sense.
I never
So,
really
yeah.
watched it, so
Chapter
but
5
I liked Jenna Coleman.
is so depressing because you're getting there and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then Riku brings up like, you need to draw lucky 7. You need to pull it out. Like, you can do that. Like, I believe in you. And then nothing happens. And she starts fading away. And En walks over and is like, do it. Send her off. Do it. And then Noah can't do it. It was so good, especially to like backtrack and go to when they're in the cell. Henry McIntyre, or I think it's Harry McIntyre, one or the other, who voiced Noah, did a really good job in Chapter 5 because I could hear and feel the emotions he was going through in doing that voiceover, especially when Noah's like banging on the cell door. You can hear his voice start to break. So good. So I think that's great. But when they're outside and she fades away, the sheer audacity of Monolith Soft to end chapter 5 with N beheading Noah, and it just cuts to black, and then it's like, all right, that's the end of the chapter. Would you like to save and quit? And I'm like, no. Well, it's also, 1 a.m., but I need to know the resolution.
You gotta think about the screen for that, because it wasn't like the normal journal.
It was the Offseer flute.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Also,
for me, it was 3 a.m, and I was like, well, shit.
slight, maybe continuity error. When did they switch their flutes back? Because there was that point where Mio was like, hey, I want to give you this so that like when I go, you can use it a little longer before you go. And like he gave her hers, and it was a really cute thing. That was the whole, I remember taking a picture of it, sending to you, and in all caps, they're in love, Your Honor, like the whole thing. But then when you get to the off-seeing part where she dies, I guess, Mio as M brings her flute down the steps and hands it to Noah.
Well, it was because they took both of their flutes.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never mind. Okay, that resolves that. But also, what was it, like half hour, 45 minutes of cutscenes at the beginning of chapter 6? It was a long.
Bro, get ready for Persona 5.
There was like it's minimal gameplay.
Yeah, like Persona 5 is that, but for like a lot longer.
I believe it, and I'm okay with it. I just set my controller down. I was like, all right, let's go. I'm in.
Well, no, with Persona 5, it's you have to go through the dialogue. But for Persona 5, there is a literal point where it is like an hour of just straight up cutscenes.
All right. I'm down.
I'm not going to say what it is. People who have played both Royal and regular Persona 5 know what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say what it is, because you haven't played the game, and you're going to play the game soon. I'm excited.
I really liked how it showed. I mean, it didn't make a ton of sense how sometimes when Noah and Mio were reincarnated, they weren't a part of the flame clock system. But then sometimes, like, every example they showed, they were not a part of the colony or like flame clock system. They were always a part of the city, which is weird. So does that mean that this incarnation of Noah and Mio are the first ones who are in the flame clock system? And I don't know. Does that have something to do with the fact that N has been around so long?
Prologue.
Stop it. We're not going down that train yet. That is the very last thing we're doing, because you gotta keep people here. But I think that's very interesting. It helped develop their relationship, though, that it was almost like a more explicit version of Zelink, where we kind of just assume that every incarnation of Link and Zelda get together, unless it's explicitly stated that they don't, which it usually never is in either direction. And this was like, okay, here's a bunch of different incarnations of them. One of them got far enough to have a kid. The other ones were Ouroboros together. This is not a new thing. So just the fact that they did that. And also, I hate it because I don't hate the ending. I don't like the ending. Solely because I don't like that everyone's been separated, which I know there's a whole, like, the thematic, like, you know, the whole game is about just, you have to cope with loss and things aren't going to go the way you want them to. And that's the thematic thing for Xenoblade. And I'm like, you know what? Shut up. I don't care.
And that's why Mio should have died. But okay.
I don't care because I want Lance and Senna to be able to work out together. I want to see Tyon get moved up from number 4. And I want to see Noah and Mio kiss again. Damn it. So that's why I don't like the ending, because I don't like it when you get me emotionally attached to characters and now they're never going to see each other again. So thanks, Monolith Soft, for inducing like a week-long depression. But yeah,
Bro, just go watch Evangelion. You'll be fine.
I'm halfway through Evangelion. I'm in episode 12, but I've also been on episode 12 since July, so...
Keep watching it.
I'm trying.
Keep watching it. It's really good.
I think the Mio M swap was okay. It was a little loosey-goosey just because it was never explicitly stated or implied that she could permanently switch with someone. In the fight, it was like, oh, she can temporarily take over them.
Yeah.
But it was still her in her own body. She was just like puppeteering the other characters. It was never, oh, Uni is now in M's body and M is now in Uni's body. So that swap was a little weird. I guess they just kind of say, well, they're the same person, so it works. And I'm like, okay, you know what, whatever. Real question, the most important question of the entire game. Short hair or long hair for Mio?
I was about to ask. I went long hair.
Same. Is there a way to change it?
No.
In the set, like it's just done.
I don't think so. I think there might be, but
because I remember it saying somewhere like, oh, you can change this under settings, and then I searched every single tab of settings, and there was nothing.
I mean, I didn't realize you could change the menu orientation until, like, post-game.
That's what I was looking for. I found menu orientation when I was looking for the hair. So, yeah, I think the story post-Chapter 5 and, like, 6 and on, it was good, but it felt rushed in a sense. Like...
I will say the story definitely peaked at Chapter 5. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't think it peaked at Chapter 5. I think it just peaked at the end of Chapter 5 and the beginning of Chapter 6. And then
that whole exchange.
Because I will be real, the beginning of Chapter 5 and all of that with the jail and stuff like that was just kind of boring.
Oh, yeah. You mean like going through and doing the prison tasks? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of a drag.
Yeah. But like I think there is a point where a lot of the Xenoblade games just kind of peak at some point and then the rest kind of feels rushed.
I mean, I don't know. Well, okay, I don't want to say that. I see what you're saying. I think Definitive Edition does the same thing.
Kind of.
Or I say Definitive Edition, it's the first game cuz I really enjoyed the final fight there.
Yeah,
but I feel like
I think the first game definitely has its big moment and then keeps it going, and I think that is the good part about it.
I think if I had to pick a spot for a peak in Xenoblade 1, it would definitely be the reveal after they fight Egil.
Yeah,
and then Zanza pops out, and then Mayneth pops out, and it's the whole thing. Okay, not to get off Xenoblade 3, but I really loved Zanza. It's a villain. It was such a nice twist that I did not see coming until it happened.
And that's my point. I think that's why inevitably when you play Xenoblade 1 again, you're going to like it more than 3. Because the thing about it is Xenoblade 1 has some just perfect storytelling and perfect foreshadowing that you don't even realize until your second playthrough. And it's like a lot of what it does is it really just hints super well, but not to a point where it's like, oh, that's obvious.
Right. I mean, even with this stuff with Dixon, like, I didn't see that coming until it happened. I was like, oh, okay. So, and, you know, shout out to Xenoblade Games taking their final fights to space. Or, I'm sorry, not necessarily space, but, like, the infinite void. I don't know, does 2 do that? I haven't seen the final boss for 2.
2 does that.
Yeah, there we go. Shout out to Monolith for...
Two's final fight is in a space station.
So they literally go to space.
They go to the space station.
Nice.
Where the world was created.
Oh.
Yeah. That's what technically that is what Elysium is.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. That's why the architect is there.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
So yeah, I think Xenoblade 3's big issue was after those big moments. Like once you finish that whole chain of events at the beginning of chapter 6, you're like halfway through chapter 6. Like that was half of chapter 6, and then you go and what else do? You go break Nia out of the Cloud Keep, and then that's the end of 6.
Yeah.
And then you go into 7, which I don't even remember what 7 is.
It's just a lot of Origin.
Yeah. Cuz 7 is essentially, all right, we're busting in Origin. We're going to go break out the Queen of Kevis, which is Melia Antiqua, Queen, everybody. And then yep. I'm kind of mad. I wanted to do everybody's Ascension quest before I did that, but I didn't realize that I needed Gondor for that. So I went into that section and then Gondor was gone, which is a good thing because I hate her, but also kind of need you to unlock
Then
Senna's
Gondor
Ascension
comes
quest.
back.
Yeah, and then it's like,
and I was like, damn it.
No, die. Monica's fine. Gondor, on the other hand, die. Also, Shania. Well, I don't want to say that
part.
I don't want to say that.
Like, I never did that part. I know about it, but I'm like, I literally don't care.
I was gonna say Shania can go off herself, but she already did that, so we got that covered.
Like, that's the funny part is we were all like, hold on, wait a minute. There is literally a point in the game where somebody like shoots themselves. What? When like the ratings got released, and we were just like,
oh, what does that mean?
And then that happened, and we were like, oh, so that's what that was.
Oh,
good.
Which, but a content warning there. Ooh, okay.
But yeah, like a lot of the heroes were good, but to a point they did kind of get dull later on. Like, I think some of the important heroes were great, like Alexandria's amazing.
Mommy Ethel?
My friend was
I had to say it.
My friend was so mad that we got Ethel, and then literally she just dies.
Disappears from most of the game.
She just dies, and she's not in the game ever.
The only way you get her back is by doing Kamaravi's Ascension quest.
That's really how you get her back?
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how you got her back.
Because the Colony Omega stuff was required.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's Mio's Ascension quest, and Noah and Mio's Ascension quests are mandatory.
Required.
So you can unlock Kamaravi after doing that. And then you get Kamaravi, whoever the inheritor, which I think was Tyon, you get him up to 10, and then you go back to Omega. But part of his hero unlock quest is taking Kamaravi to the city.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the city, we find out that Ethel has broken out of her little pod. And then she's on the loose, and then Kamaravi's like, you know what? I'm gonna take care of baby Ethel, which, to all the Ethel and Kamaravi shippers, that makes it really weird.
Yeah, also,
I mean, I'm still
afraid
here.
of heights.
I'm still here for the ship, but that section made it a little weird. And then when you go to do Kamaravi's Ascension quest, you take Ethel back to Omega, and she goes in like this artificial aging thing, and now she's back, and you can play her again. So it's a really long-winded way. But then in the final cutscene, like, all the heroes are there, regardless of if you actually unlocked them or not. Like, I did, but I know you didn't.
Yeah.
Well, you did all but one, right?
Yeah.
And you didn't. Which one did you do? Was it?
I don't remember. It was the last one that you.
I don't remember her name. It's the big like robot.
Yeah.
Chick. I don't remember her name. It's an okay class. I'll say that. It's an okay class. Melia is definitely going to take over the attacker spot for that class. Yeah. So I'll use her.
Can we talk about how Triton is like one of the best heroes personality-wise?
Yes.
But his class is awful.
It is. I hate it.
Like, it is so bad. and it is too much gimmicks in
I feel
one.
like they added him in there so that if you're that one person who really wants to have all your characters wearing the console armor, you can.
Which, like, I still say, like, they took it out in 2. I still say we needed to have like just more costumes and the customization from 1. I know we're getting I know we're getting the swimsuits.
Swimsuit DLC comes out like tomorrow. I'm so excited.
I know it comes out tomorrow.
I'm gonna freaking grind the challenge mode.
I know.
I hope they put more outfits in the challenge mode. Just other than
they probably will.
I saw the official Xenoblade Twitter account, like the Japanese Twitter account. There's alts for all the swimsuits. So there's at least 2 versions of the swimsuit. So I'm hoping they throw more, kind of like if you get the DLC, they give you color variant 2 for all the base outfits, which some of them are ugly as hell. So anyway, continue.
What was I saying? Oh, I just think the customization and stuff like that from 1 should just have stayed. Like that was my biggest problem with 2 was that they replaced everything like that, like gyms and all of that, with just the accessory system, which just kind of stripped it of the fun aspect of building a character, and it was just not fun.
I
and also,
will say
you didn't have the customizational outfits where you could like change their outfits after certain story events, like I did.
Yeah.
But
I think I really love the customization in 1. That was one of my favorite things about Xenoblade 1, is just the fact that like I could mix and match. There was so much customization there, and I love that. Because you get some really like serious cutscenes, but Shulk's over here in nothing but his underwear.
Bro, Naked Dunban is actually a Shrat. Like, that's the best part. Like, Naked Dunban is actually like...
Naked Dunban, any percent, no glitch.
Yeah, like it's actually a build for Dunban, and it's apparently broken as hell.
I believe it.
It's really funny.
Dunban is pretty broken.
He already, his right arm's broken. But anyway.
So yeah, I really liked the way they did just the whole system in 3. I like the fusion arts. I think the whole concept of switching classes, as I mentioned earlier, is really cool. And then being able to set the different fusion arts. I still need to max out my skill tree for the Ouroboros. I haven't done that yet.
Never did it.
I'm getting close though.
I can't do it whenever I have to hear, check out this neat new skill.
Check out this sick new skill.
I was just like, shut up, lads.
A new power, eh?
I literally wanted to turn off the game whenever I heard that, like, after the 40.
More to add to the playbook. I was playing it with Megan on the phone, and I was going through, like, doing a bunch of upgrades, and it doesn't bother me. I just kind of tune it out. And Megan was like, did you get a sick new skill? And I was like, yes, I did, actually.
No,
check it out.
I would have just said, yippee!
You hear that, Noah? That's what's something about Michia. I watched a video, and, like, it was an anti-Xenoblade 3 video. And a huge part of the criticism was the fact that they repeat their post-battle phrases a lot.
Was it Donkey?
Yeah. It was the Donkey video.
Donkey? Okay. So the thing about Donkey is it wasn't an anti-Xenoblade 3 video. He just doesn't say whether or not he liked the game.
That's
the best part about it, is Donkey will make videos like that, and people will not know if he liked the game, was okay with the game, or absolutely despised the game.
I remember a big issue people had with that video was how, like, he just kind of put spoilers out there with no forewarning at the beginning. I can understand that. That's an issue. You could have at least put a little, like, hey, this video contains spoiler clips from Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Donkey does that a lot, but I'm fine
and it's frustrating. So I love the post-battle phrases. Honestly, every time I would go along with Senna. I'm the girl with the gall. You gotta love it. Yes.
I still love the 1 hour of silence.
The bus.
I still like the 1 hour of silence, occasionally broken by Senna saying yippee. We have a music bot in a server that I'm in, and we go to put it in every time. But it all because we do that. We will put in the 1 hour of silence videos all the time. But that is the one that consistently never works. So at one point we just put it on for repeat, and just hit repeat, and just waited to see if it worked. It never worked. It tried to repeat the video like 70 times.
That gives me a John Mulaney Salt and Pepper Diner vibes.
Yeah.
What's your favorite phrase from Xenoblade? Like whatever their post battle or chain attack or whatever.
What like any game?
No, from 3.
Oh, from 3.
You could do the other 2 if you want. If you want to say this is my favorite from 1.
I hate it because I literally have to go with either Yippee or You're on Fire Lands.
You're on Fire Lands.
Just because of the video where it's just like, you're on fire, Lance, and then it starts to lands on fire, and you just goes, oh!
You're a right Muppet, Lance. You'll be sleeping.
That's also a very good line. I just really you're a right Muppet.
There's I don't remember which Ascension quest it was, but there's a clip where Lance calls Uni a spoon, and she's like, who you calling a spoon? And he's like, well, I'm going to call you a spoon if you're acting like one. Lance and Uni give off such sibling vibes, and I'm all here for it. And that's another thing about the characters is I feel like, and maybe I missed this, I feel like Xenoblade 1 didn't have that. And maybe it wasn't supposed to have that. And maybe it wasn't, that wasn't the tone they were going for.
No, it was. You just didn't do the affinity quests.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watched a video. There was a whole affinity, one of those, what's it called? The meetup spots? You know what I'm talking about?
The heart-to-hearts.
Yeah.
The heart-to-hearts are insanely good.
There's a whole heart-to-heart where Melia and Charlotte talk about her feelings for Shulk. And I was like, oh. Well, I missed that.
I told you to do the heart-to-hearts. They're good.
I couldn't. The game told me I couldn't. The game literally said, no, you cannot do this.
Because you had to keep giving Ryan eggplants. That's all you have to do.
Okay, well, you know what? You know what else I liked a lot better in Xenoblade 3? The gem crafting system. Because it was a lot easier for me to understand. I was very confused by it.
Get good.
Sorry. Was very confused by it in the first game. You know what? I tried. Okay.
Listen, okay. If you said you didn't understand the combat in Xenoblade 2, I would have believed you because that game just straight up lies to you. It does. Literally, Emil Chico Conroy, he literally made a video that was just like, hey, so by the way, this game lies to you. Here's how you actually need to play the game.
Yeah, I also feel like maybe it's because I went into Xenoblade 3. One, it took me, I started playing Xenoblade Definitive Edition in May of 2021, and I didn't finish it until April of 2022. Mm-hmm. So there was a long time, and I took a lot of long breaks from that game. And I think that really lent to a lot of my confusion with how things worked. Whereas with Xenoblade 3, I was playing either every day or every other day. I was still consistently in it. So going into the game, I paid a lot more attention to the tutorials and the tips and all that stuff. So I think that really helped. But also I think they simplified it in a way.
Yeah.
To make it more easily understandable. Because they kind of treated 3, and even I think the director of the game said you don't have to play the other 2 to play this game, which I agree and I disagree. I agree in the sense that you don't lose anything super important if you haven't played the other 2. But for me personally, walking alongside, there was some cliff walking alongside it, you can see the Bionis head in the water. And that was so cool to me because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the Bionis. And at the end, when Melia drops the painting and the Monado from Future Connected is there, That's really cool.
Yeah,
So,
like, the thing with it is you're going to get a lot more out of the game if you play both games before 3, but it definitely isn't required. Speaking of which, since we're talking about the ending again, so we're going to talk about we're going to have to talk about it. So,
are we wait. Are we talking about the ending?
No.
Or are we getting ready to fight?
No. We're talking about post 2.
Okay.
Okay. So, imagine you're this guy. Imagine you're this salvager guy. And you're like, I don't know, how old? Hold on.
Dude was like, what, 20-something? Maybe? Hold on. Google it.
What do you think I'm doing?
Not Googling it. Try harder.
I'm Googling it, bro. Imagine you're 15.
He's 15?
And you're just vibing as a salvager with your main man, Gramps. And suddenly you go on this mission and you find a big titty
anime waifu trapped inside a
candle.
sword.
And then you're like, man, that'd be cool. And then you get stabbed in the chest and you're like, man, that's not cool. And then you wake up.
And she says, put your hand on my chest. And then you find out that instead of there being one big titty anime girl, there's 2 of them, and one of them is a tsundere. But then, later on, not only is there
No, hold on. Before you meet the candle, there's this other girl. There's this cat girl who's got some really nice hips, and you're like, man,
true,
that'd
big
be
facts.
cool. And then you meet the candle, and you're like, man, that's double cool. Then you get stabbed in the chest, and then there's this.
The game
lion.
ends.
They're not lion. There's like this tiger guy, and he's just
also
like,
a cat.
"What are you doing?"
Date my person. Do it.
To which, then you meet this guy who only has one eye, and he's really tall and really buff, and he's like, "Hey, chum, which one you fancy?"
One-eyed monster.
And then he says, and I quote, "Yes." And then at the end of the game, they're back, because we thought they died at one point, and then they're back, and then it's like, hold up, wait, Gramps is big now. He's not tiny anymore.
And the waifus are split.
And they're 2 different people, and that one's there.
And the cat girl's
Hell
here.
yeah.
But the cat girl has an even more revealing outfit than before.
Oh yeah, and also
She proclaims her love for you at some point.
I love you, and you're just like, yeah, cool.
Neat. Anyway,
Everyone
moving
else,
on.
I like all of them too.
Which was then taken literally. Rex.
Man, we don't know what. Listen. This is the best part. We don't know what happened with Morag and Bridget. We don't know if they were there. We don't know if anything happened with them. We just know, confirmed, that Nia, Pyra, and Mithra. Yeah, my friend. My friend texted me one day. He was like, "Hey, do you think they had their party on Azurda's back?" And I was like, yeah, probably.
Yes. Okay, Xenoblade 2 haters, Rex is a Giga Chad.
He is a Giga Chad.
You're just mad because he did what you can't do. Okay.
You know, like that's the thing. I hated Rex for a while, and then I saw him in like like as the Ouroboros statue, and I was just like, "Damn it!"
But he's not an Ouroboros though. He's one of the mentors, and so is Shulk.
He's one of the mentors. But I just saw him, and I'm like, "Damn it! They made him a Giga Chad.
They made him a Giga Chad. No."
And I was like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine. And then they show the picture, and he has 3 kids with 3 different people, and we're like, hold up.
Which do you think Mio is Rex and Nia's kid? I would make an argument for yes. I feel like they would do that.
I don't know. Like, I think it's supposed to be implied, and I think it's implied a lot in their Ascension quest, like in Nia's Ascension quest. But, the thing with it is, like I said, I think it's very heavily implied, but I don't think it's supposed to be direct. I think it's, like, supposed to be kind of like a successor to Nia, but not blood related.
Right. Well, she's
kind of like how, like, because it's like, you know, it's like Mio is all like composed and like more proper, where Nia is just like, you know, balls to the wall, screaming at everything. And that's, you know, since they're parallels. And when you look at Uni and Melia, they are also opposites, you know, because Melia always wanted to be kind of like the rambunctious, screaming at everything character, and that's what Uni is.
Right.
So
Uni is also the only high Entia character in the game who her wings are not the same color as her hair. Which that is absurdly intentional. So maybe there's something there. I would say that Uni is Shulk and Melia's kid, but then I'm like, no, Shulk is too polite to women to be in a polyamorous relationship. He will stick with Fiora and call it a day.
Shulk respects women. Rex does not.
Nope. Confirmed on the podcast. Rex does not respect women at all. Or maybe he does, because he accepted all of their feelings. So
maybe he does, he says.
Maybe he does, air quotes. Who knows?
What was I going to say? Like, I don't know, because it's like, yeah, based off the hair color, it's just like, who would be the father? Because I mean, like,
you could always argue that Nia's hair color was the dominant gene, so therefore it took over. Because they have the same color eyes too.
Yeah, well, no, I mean with Uni.
Oh, no one. There's literally no one in the main cast. Because Dunban's too old, because he's the dad of the group. We all know Ryan is with Sharla, and Shulk is with Fiora, which I didn't like at first, but I'm okay with it now. I've made my peace with that. I just feel bad that Melia got cucked so bad, because Fiora was supposed to be dead. She should have stayed
Every
dead.
hotel got the cuck chair.
Yeah. So I don't know. There has to be some unexplained, like, person we don't know, if that were going to be the case. It would have to be some character that we're not familiar. Maybe one of the founders. Maybe like.
And maybe they would explain it.
Stop it
in the prologue.
Stop it. We're gonna get to that. But before we get to that, because we're an hour and a half in, I'm going to blaze through a couple other points I have. Never forget, they gave Melia and Nia giant Gundams. Yes. And I'm okay with that. Let's see. What else? This game does a great job. I'm going to just literally read what I wrote. This was post finishing the game. This game does such a great job at taking these characters from mortal enemies to not wanting to be separated. which I guess is also just called character development.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the first chapter, everyone be like, ugh, can't stand these Agnians, these sparking Agnians. And then by the end, they're like, but maybe don't go. Like, maybe. I love how in the cutscene where they're like in the Windows 8 or whatever field, or the Windows XP field, Melia's like, you know, you could.
Until you said Melia, I had no idea what you were talking about. And then when you said Melia, I understood what you were talking about. But also, why was Gondor there?
Because she was in Origin with them. Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just like, why? Why was she there?
But when Melia was like, you know, you guys could just, there's still time if you want to freeze it. And Lance was like, what?
Hey, you could just not.
Yeah, like, oh, hey, I mean, listen, who's to say we don't just reform the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. And Lance is like, what, you expect us to become Mobius? And then everyone looks at Noah, who says nothing. And you're like, hold on.
I would have laughed. I would have laughed if they gave you a choice right there. Because I would, like, straight up, I was expecting it. Like, I was expecting it to be like, what will you choose? And I'm just like,
could you imagine?
So
it's like a Telltale game. 65% of users chose the endless
will
now.
Give you those choices, like, not even joking.
Really?
Yeah, they will straight up give you a choice of, hey, do you want to do this? And they're like, and you can be like, yeah, sure. And then it leads you directly to the bad ending.
Hey, listen, it could work.
Like, I've told you Persona 5 has like 6 different endings, right?
No, that's new information to me.
Yeah, Persona 5 Royal has like 6 or 7 different endings.
I'm okay with that. I think that's nice. Because that means my gameplay experience has potential to be unique from other people's. And that's cool.
I'll tell you when to make save points. Because
good. Okay.
You're gonna need to. Yeah.
So, let me see. I already did that. Who's your favorite character out of the main 6? Not including heroes or anything, just the main
Noah.
Ouroboros 6. Noah? Yeah, I can respect that.
Actually, no. I wouldn't say no. Mio.
Fair. I respect that.
Probably Mio.
It's a good choice.
Honestly.
For me personally, I'm torn between Noah and Lance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be Lance. I love him so much. He's hilarious. He's just such a what's the word I'm like? He's such an honest character in a way. Like, he just tells you how it is. He's like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah. We're gonna die.
Yeah, for me, it's Noah, or not Noah, Mio, Noah, and then Senna.
Oh yeah.
Because I just really like Senna, and that's not because she has the Bridget hair, but I just really like Senna.
There was stuff like that was never explained, and I had to go watch a lore video to understand, like, why is her hair on fire? Why does she have these little, like, lines on her body? And I'm like, oh, I understand. Okay. And also, only Agnians have the core crystals, and only Kavesi have the power frames.
Yep.
So it's those small attention to detail that I think is really cool. I think for me, it would be Lance. Oh, this is hard. I think Lance, Uni, and Noah. I gotta not that I love the Agnian trio, but my faves are definitely the Kavesi 3.
Mm-hmm.
I love them. So yeah, that's fave character. I'm really trying to figure out, is there anything else? Because I know this last discussion is gonna, like, we're gonna just, it's gonna be great.
I have something before that. So
hot take. Noah and Mio better than Shulk and Fiora. I'll die on that hill. I like Noah and Mio better than Shulk and Fiora.
Disagree. Hard disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with the fact that you played Xenoblade 1 first?
No.
Okay. Do tell. I'm interested to
Like,
hear.
like here's the thing. The thing with Shulk and Fiora is in 3, you really don't have a scene that's like the scene on the Fallen Arm. Where it is like just absolute, just like, this is really just wholesome.
I mean,
like, you can argue that it's the stuff with the flutes.
that's what I was going to say. That's what I would argue.
You can argue
the
that
flute
it's that,
stuff.
but it wasn't on the same level. And that was my biggest issue. Because I think what was cool about that scene is you really didn't have anything else interrupting it. Where in 3, you have the whole high five joke interrupting it, which I think the high five joke was great, but I feel like it interrupted that scene.
Yeah.
Where in 1, nothing interrupts that scene. It is just purely Shulk and Fiora being Shulk and Fiora.
That's true. Okay, I'll give you that. I mean, I'm not going to change my opinion, but I respect what you're saying. I think Noah and Mio, for me, would have, like, it would be a lot higher if they actually ended up together and, like, had a life. Because I know there's all the flashbacks of, like, oh, well, they've had a kid in one version and they've been Ouroboros in another. And I get it. I understand the thematic parallels to the reason they're separated was our Noah's choice to not be with her to end the Endless Now, because N couldn't do that. Which, by the way, we haven't even talked about villains. I'll get there.
All right. But before we do that, do you want to hear my least favorite thing about the game?
Uh-oh. Is it character related?
No.
Oh, good.
So my least favorite thing about the game is actually the entire Agnian side. The reason I hate the entire Agnian side, and I'm not a big fan of the entire Agnian side, is because it makes absolutely no sense when you look at Xenoblade 2 and you look at the basis of that. Do you want to know where all of the designs for the Agnian side come from?
They came from one area, didn't they?
No, they came from Torna. Do you want to know why it's all like very like 13 to 1500 Japanese style? Because that was all what Torna was.
Which was the prequel DLC for 2.
Which was the prequel DLC that, in my opinion, is just bad. Torna is not good. I do not like Torna. I think it was not fun to play. It was boring and it was not necessary. Anyway. So, here's the thing. Do you want to know the funny part about this? Can you guess if Nia even shows up in Torna?
No, because it's like what, 500 years before the main game?
Like, that's my point. She's never in Torna. So why does she have the Torna designs and all that stuff there? It doesn't make any sense.
That's what they wanted to do, I guess.
Like, my point was, a lot of people love Torna, and I'm like, I don't understand why. The combat isn't good. They arguably made the combat worse. The story is just not good. The arcs that they were trying to develop in Torna were already developed.
Fair point.
That and Mithra is just actively a worse character. Like, that's
I haven't
the thing.
played Torna, so I don't know.
Like, Mithra is actively a worse character. They try so hard to put her in a place to where it's like, yeah, she has absolutely no character development, but it just makes her a not likable character at all. And then Adam, the character who is I know I'm going on a huge rant about Torna, but I have to. It's the Xenoblade episode. Anyway, Adam, who is like this huge character that has been built up for the entirety of Xenoblade 2, is just a himbo. That's all he is. He's just a himbo. Like, he's not interesting. He just kind of looks stupid, and he's just like, hey guys, I'm the wielder of the Aegis.
I mean, you're not wrong from what I've seen of him. You're not wrong. I'll give
Like-
you that.
Like, he has this super, like, deep voice, too. Like, he almost sounds like Elvis. And he just does it, and he looks like Rex. And that's the biggest issue, is it's just like, it's not good. It's not good. I would have rather they did something different with the Agnian side, where it actually makes sense to be in 2. But anyway, yeah. So that's my least favorite part about the game, was because I was looking at the Agnian stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then I asked my friend, I was like, where did all of this come from? And he was just like, Torna. And I was like,
damn.
And I went on my rant about Torna that I just did, because I just don't like it. I played 3 hours of Torna, and I was just like, this is boring.
And you never finished it?
No.
I mean, granted, I didn't play Future Connected. I watched a summary of it on YouTube because I was not in love with the combat from Xenoblade 1, but we've already gone over that. Let me think. Final things. I don't know if I've mentioned it. The ending cutscene really, really got me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, because I was under the impression that the worlds were going to fuse together and everyone was just going to kind of like lose their memories. And then like the post-credit scene would be like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've seen you somewhere before. Like that trope where it's like, oh, I feel like I know you. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I do. So I didn't understand what was happening until Lance made the comment that I don't think we're going to be able to work out anymore together. And at that point I was like, well, wait, what, is everyone just going to like part ways? Like we're done with the story. So now nobody's going to be together. Like we're all going to ignore each other. Yeah. And then at that point I was like, oh no, the worlds are going to drift apart again. Oh, so then everything after that. Also, big respect on Monolith Soft for getting their main characters to kiss. I'm so proud of you. Nintendo, take notes. Do it for Link and Zelda.
They do that in like every game.
I know. And I'm saying it needs to be brought to Zelda too. Like we need to do it. Just pull the trigger. You got to do it at some point. Just like just like Link needs to talk at some point. Pull the trigger. Do it. You got to do it.
Still, I don't think Link should talk.
You got to pull the trigger. You got to bam.
I don't think so.
Let her rip.
I don't think so.
So yeah,
well, that's the thing. Link talks. He does.
Melanie and I had this argument.
No, he does. He literally talks. Like in Skyward Sword, he talks. You see his mouth move, but you just don't hear him. And same thing in Twilight Princess. He does that. He'll talk, but his mouth will move, but he will not say anything.
Which they could get away with that before because they didn't have any voice acting prior to Breath of the Wild. So now it's kind of like, it kind of feels weird, but that's a conversation for a different day, or a general Zelda episode.
Hey, you know what we haven't talked about at all?
Uh-oh.
The music.
I love the music in this game so much.
It's
so good.
Is great. I love the meme that somebody made where it was like somebody literally told the composer that this was the last thing they're ever going to make for every single song.
This is your last song ever. They're like, oh, okay.
And it's like they really just hammered in on the music for this game. It was really well done.
The chain attack theme makes me feel like I could do anything. I could lift a
so
bus off a child if chain attack was playing.
That was my one issue. I got so sick of the chain attack theme. And my biggest issue with it was that for certain fights, they did not make the chain attack theme cut out.
I can understand that.
Like, during the end fight, that needed to be gone.
Yeah, it needed to keep with that song. I will say that ruined it. I didn't like that. They did it in Origin, though.
Yeah, they did.
When you fight him in Origin,
it's like, why would they do it in Origin and not do it in any other point? It's just like, why?
I will say, me personally, I love that song to death. I got really hyped during the final fight with Zed when I could do chain attacks and the music came on because it made me feel empowered. Like I could do anything. Like I can actually beat this boss. So, yeah. I think other than that, I really loved the Xenoblade remix of Time to Fight by Honest Shoulder, which is Melia's fight theme.
I still love the
Godsend.
I like that one. I think it's amazing, but I personally like the Drifting Soul remix better.
Fair.
Like that shit goes hard.
It really does.
Like,
the whole soundtrack goes hard.
Like I will say, when the Cloud Keep stuff started happening and I heard Drifting Soul start playing, I literally got chills. I was like, "You've got to be kidding! They did it!"
It was. I got chills, dude, and I haven't even played Xenoblade 2.
Yeah, and then when Melia showed up and they started playing the Aerith Sea theme, I literally was like, "Let's go!"
Exactly. It's so good.
Aerith Sea was one of my favorite area themes from Xenoblade 1. And it's like, I think that was another thing they kind of fell off on in Xenoblade 2, was there were really good area themes, but then there were just some that were entirely forgettable. Like one from Xenoblade 2 that always will stick out in my mind is More Ardain, which, Nick, I don't know if you've heard More Ardain, but it goes
I probably
hard.
have.
It's in Smash.
Yeah, then I probably have.
I think it's in Smash.
Let me look through my... I have a Xenobangers on YouTube. Let's see.
Another good one is Yggdrasil, which is the World Tree theme. That one is amazing.
A Life Sent On, iconic. The Weight of Life.
Im's Gambit is really good.
The Weight of Life should have been used more than twice.
Yeah.
I can't believe...
since it was that game's Engage the Enemy.
Yeah. Ouroboros Awakens, that's another good one. The one that was used, which I got so freaking hyped when that came on in the game because they used it in the first, like, the reveal trailer. So I'd already heard it. Obviously, A Step Away and Where We Belong, the two insert songs, are depressing as hell.
Just the title
but they're
theme.
Good.
Just the title theme is amazing. Yeah. Like
Kevis Battle.
Oh, I love. See, have I told you the really cool thing about the Kevis Battle theme?
No.
Is the thing about the Kevis Battle theme is it has literally all of the different instruments from the past games. Because it has the violin from Xenoblade 1, it has the electric guitar from Xenoblade 2, it has the piano from Torna, and it has the flute from Xenoblade 3.
Dang.
And when you listen to it again, you won't be able to unhear it. But also, funnily enough, going with instruments from the games, speaking of Time to Fight Biona's Shoulder, the best part about that is that the one game where they use the flute, they use the song that has a flute, but they take the flute out.
And make it a saxophone.
Which I'm fine with them using a saxophone. But
there's a comment on the song I have saved on YouTube.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Is it the Mario Kart one?
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Also, I don't know if you noticed, but Kevis Colony has a bit of Engage the Enemy in it.
Oh.
You can kind of
Let me
hear
think.
it.
All of the Origin, I loved the Origin area music. It was so good. It felt
I
creepy.
can say now, probably if you're gonna like Origin, you're really gonna like Yggdrasil, because that is just like it kind of like kicks you in the face with how good it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not even joking. It's just like it's so just funky.
I'm really thinking this episode is going to be the longest episode of the podcast thus far because we are an hour and 50 minutes in and we haven't even gotten to our big debate yet.
We haven't even talked about villains yet, but we're still going to keep talking
There's
about
so much to talk about.
Because You Will Know Our Names finale is literally one of the best songs in the game. Like, I still, like, okay, but also another awesome thing about that is how they did that, how they composed that song was what they did was they reversed the harmony of the original You Will Know Our Names. Because like instead of it going up, it goes down. So it's like when you listen to it, it's like you hear it and you're like, "Wait, that is just You Will Know Our Names."
They really knocked it out of the park. The Mobius music is iconic. Every time.
Damn it, I said it! No!
Cookie.
Anyway, just censor it out with all of the chanting.
I'll censor it with Schultz.
Yippee!
Yippee!
Anyway, by the way, just in case, I'm gonna make this more work for you, just in case it didn't come in. Yippee!
No! You and Melina both. Damn you.
I don't think you're
no.
ready for. I don't think you're ready for Melina and I to be on a podcast together.
I don't. I'm gonna have to pull out.
It's gonna be like a fight for who is more chaotic.
Eclipse Homecoming. On God. So good. End credits. Like, I think every song in this game is a banger. Like, they really outdid. And I would kill. I know they're never gonna do it in a million years, but I would kill for either an official version on like Spotify or Apple or a CD.
I wanted as a vinyl, but it would
I would
be
kill.
It'd be so many records.
You'd have like 30 discs.
Like, it'd be so many. Like, literally Elden Ring's entire soundtrack is 8 discs. And hold on. That's only 67 tracks.
Oh yeah, this is like 200.
It's literally 263. So it's just like, it'd be a lot. But yeah, collecting vinyl isn't fun.
No, it's really not. It's expensive. But
I really
also,
want
so
to
is being a gamer.
Yeah, I really want to get the Valhalla vinyl from what is it? From Fangamer, because it's really cool. Anyway, you should go buy stuff from Fangamer. It's really cool.
We're not sponsored, by the way.
We're not sponsored by Fangamer. I promise. We're not sponsored by Fangamer.
So villains. Who's your favorite villain?
N.
I think I already know the answer. Yeah, I was gonna say N. It's already the answer.
Okay, you said from the main cast earlier, but N is my favorite character in the entire game. N, I think, is by far just the most well-written character. And
which there are a lot of people who would strongly disagree, but I think they're wrong.
The reason I say they're wrong is because they do it so well to make you absolutely hate him for so long.
It's called good writing.
When you get his backstory, you're just like, man, I hate the guy, but I feel so bad for him.
What cat girl anime waifus do to a man?
Exactly. Like
commit genocide, I guess.
Yeah. Like I think what a lot of people are mad about is they're mad that they followed the trope of, oh, this villain who's just kind of a piece of shit needs to have a backstory that makes him likable, and I'm just like,
but also the villain is actually you. Dun dun dun.
But it's like, I think that trope is still good if it's done well, and I think it was done well here.
Yeah.
Like, and I think N just has a ton of just phenomenal lines. You know, like, I'm gonna paraphrase it because I don't remember the entire one, but like, or the entire line, but like the line of, "You seem pretty cocky when you have my girl around your arm," is like, just like,
dude,
whoa,
dude,
it's like he's
that
out
was
for blood
so
here.
savage. He was
like
done.
Like my
just
friend
snapped.
My friend after he my friend after he was like going to chapter 7, he was like, has N literally just been sitting on the ground for 2 chapters? And I was like, yeah.
He sat down, he was like, I'm not getting up. And then Zed's like, oh, your ex-wife is here. He's like, ugh, okay, fine. Gets up. All right, time to go kill that son of a bitch.
Man.
And then he does it.
Is Xenoblade 3 just an entire game about NTR?
Hold on.
Clearly you haven't watched enough Trash Taste.
Hold on.
Do you need me to explain it, or are you just Googling
I'm working on it?
All right, he's Googling it.
Yeah,
so...
I got it. Sorry, I had to Google it real quick. Yep, I got it. Yeah, I agree. It's
okay,
true.
Anyway, so... Dude, man, and I was going to make another segue and play this game here.
Nope.
But anyway, N was just, he was a good character. Like,
I'm kind of pissed at myself that I didn't realize it was Noah until
when
it was
you texted
so
me that,
plainly, obviously pointed
out. When you texted
out.
me that, I was like, bro.
I hated that I got to whatever when they're in the throne room and Mio's like, where have I seen those eyes before? And I was like, oh, those eyes do look odd. Like, oh my God, it's Noah. what? And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, first of all, I don't know how I didn't get it from the inflection in his voice. I should have heard they had the same voice actor.
I knew it was.
And that should
I
have been the
literally
giveaway.
knew it was no. It was supposed to be Noah when I saw him as a promotional image. I was like, yeah, that's just like Noah. Like, I was like, that's either Noah, like a clone of Noah, or that's just like Noah's twin brother.
Yeah. So, the consoles were okay.
I think the consoles.
Some of the consoles were good. The
some of
other
them
ones
really
were just
good,
kind of
and
lame.
some of them were just bad. Like, there was that one guy that had his helmet looked like an air vent.
Yeah.
It was really funny.
And then there was the guy who had like the Nautilus shell as his head.
Yeah.
And then there was Yorin. Same thing.
Yeah.
And he was kind of there. And also Chris was there too. Which, by the way,
I really
Chris
liked
has to be Shulk's kid.
I could see it. Like, I could actually
He looks
see it.
so
like,
much like Shulk.
Like, I don't think Shulk's kid. I think a descendant more of.
Like a grandkid or something.
Yeah, I could maybe see him being a reincarnation of one of the original Ouroboros. But, like, I still would really, really like to see more of Chris. Because I think he was a very interesting character that just did not get enough screen time.
And then he kind of just he just kind of showed up at the end.
Like, I
In
remember
Chapter
7. when they showed that he was a console, I literally just went, "Oh,
he's
okay.
a console. Okay. Alrighty then.
That's cool." But I will say, I did like that you fought him as well with the with Robo Melia and stuff like
Again.
that, which I think that was interesting. And I think his fight theme was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There are no other honorable console mentions. D is a dick.
Yeah.
That's why he's D. X was just kind of a creepy pervert. And Y...
Y was just
Y. Wait. Hold on. Sorry. X was just mean. Y is the creepy pervert. Because he's the one who did all the Omega stuff. X is the one who sealed the powers away, but then got really sassy. Of like, oh, I didn't even talk about they friggin' death baited Lance and Senna. I thought they were actually gonna die.
I was hoping they were actually gonna die because I
thought they were gonna pull it crazy.
Monolith Soft is actually gonna kill a character. Nope.
They can only kill villains. Only bad people can die in the Xenoblade universe.
It's like a Disney movie. It's like a Disney movie where, you know, the villains, the bad guys, they can have the most brutal death possible. They can get mauled alive, or they can fall to their death with crossbones in their eyes. But no, we can't kill our angel character right here.
No.
Who's probably
we
killed
can't.
hundreds of people, but you know.
She's got so much of the gall, dude. That's why Senna couldn't die. She's the girl with the gall.
She's got too much gall.
She's got too much gall. She can't die.
She literally said, "Nah, I ain't dying."
And then Lance is like, he found that meteor thing.
It's like Darth Maul, man too angry to die.
Yeah.
That's just in.
Senna.
Man too depressed.
Too much gall to die. Yeah. Yeah, the consoles were fine. They're placeholder villains, I guess. You needed something when you were going around smashing flame clocks. You needed something to fight.
And I think they added in some interesting stuff like Triton and like
That's
X and Y and Chris to a point. Speaking of which, going back to Chris's quest, I really liked how they put in the Kevis Castle, they put the mural from Alchemoth of the Bionis and Mechonis.
I saw that. I was like, oh, that's a thing. That's a
literally,
thing.
I saw that, and I was the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I just went, wait, what?
That's it.
It did not come through, but I did whistle. I need to watch that movie.
I'll hear it on your audio.
You might hear it. It was bad, but
yeah, I don't know. How did you feel about Zed as a villain? I saw a lot of things where like people saying he's too passive, and
I think
you don't see him till the end of the game.
That was my biggest issue. I think he was interesting, but I think he needed a bigger purpose, and he needed to be fleshed out more, which I think in an epilogue or a prologue that can be explained.
Yeah.
I just think in a prologue it's going to be better.
We're getting there. We're close.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it's okay, because his role was just kind of to send out the Mobius to do his work for him. And, it wasn't like, he was just kind of sitting there watching everything happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's okay, because if you really think about it, like, you don't see Zanza till the end of the game either, which, granted, there is a lot more time from when the main party meets Zanza and you go do the final fight.
Zanza until the end of the game.
He's technically there the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't think he was a bad villain per se, but I would also say, like, I like Shulk as a character more than I like Noah. I think Shulk is a more, like, better written character. Just like I think Zanza is a better written villain than Zed for a final boss, and is an incredibly phenomenal villain. So, yeah, I think they could have done better with Zed. He could have done a little more, but also I don't see a scenario where he would have come out of that amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think there was any scenario where he came out of that. And I don't think there was any scenario where we went in, did a fight, like, before the actual final fight, and then leave.
Yeah.
So, there really, I don't think there was a way to do that. And that's why it was that way.
I just kind of wish they would have, like, I know it's me being me, but I just wish they would have confirmed my theory.
Maybe they will,
because
in an epilogue.
it's like, or a prologue, because it's like... That's the thing. It's like there's so much evidence pointing towards it that it's like that's what he is, and it's just like, please just confirm.
Which, unless you have anything else to say, I guess we can transition into our big conversation. Debate. So, here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
For a game that is billed as the end of the Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy, and is supposed to wrap up all of the loose ends, they do not mention Klaus or the experiment, like, once. They talk about how there are two worlds that are drifting back together, but they don't mention Klaus by name, they don't mention Zanza, they don't mention the architect, and they don't mention the experiment itself. So that is my opening argument as to why we're getting an epilogue. Because I feel like the end of the game is not a definitive end. It's very open and up to interpretation, and I don't think that works if you want this to be the conclusion of your trilogy.
Okay.
And then Colin's going to swing in the complete other direction.
So, I see where you're coming from, and I see what you mean. But this is my point. Why would they show a lot of what they showed at the end of the game, with Melia looking at the Monado, with Nia with Poppy being there as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Poppy just existing, and then, what is it? And then looking at the picture with Rex. Then why would we not get a prologue where we can actually see how the Ouroboros came to be? And they hint a lot at it, because they hint a lot about how, who is Riku's master? Who's Riku's master? They never say who his master pawn is. And the huge theory going around is that it was Tora from Xenoblade 2, which I would not like, but you know what? It's fine. And that is the big theory. And it is shown that the original Ouroboros had contact with the people from the original games, so it definitely could be a thought process that's how they met. Because Napon can live for a very long time.
Well, there's also, like, Lucky 7 is basically the Monado.
Well, it's not the Monado. it's
very heavily influenced by the Monado.
It's very heavily influenced by the Monado and the Aegis. But
which would lead you to believe that Shulk may or may not have worked on some form of design, at least for the blade of Lucky 7. Not necessarily the sheath that it's in, but the blade itself.
Yeah, and it's like, well, because here's the thing, it's like, he has they still have the original Monado. They have the Monado EX. But it's like, that wasn't the same metal that was used for the original Monado, because it was literally God metal.
Right. It was literally God said, Monado.
Yeah. And then we have the Monado 3, which is just clear. Like, entirely clear.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is, it's weird, because they hint a lot about the original Ouroboros. They talk a lot about it, and a lot of it is just like, this is a huge part of the lore that is entirely missing.
Yeah.
And that gives a huge point of how to flesh out Z, because they showed a lot about that with the Noah and Mio stuff. Is that he has been actively attacking the Lost Numbers, and he's actively been against Ouroboros. So why not show the first time that happened? And that way we also get more representation from Xenoblade 1's characters, like Shulk and Dunban, maybe. Old Man Dunban. Think about this. Old Man Dunban. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I mean, it would be awesome, but
also Shulk lost an arm. Reminder, Shulk lost an arm.
When?
In the statue. It literally, he has a mechanical arm. He has a mechanical right arm. And it literally, it says he lost his arm.
Okay. Hear me out.
He also has long hair, like Dunban and N. And he has a cape.
Here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna stick hard to my epilogue theory, because I think, like you say, there's a lot of referencing to how the Ouroboros were created, but I would also say there's a lot of evidence to point towards an epilogue, because one, the last insert song, Where We Belong, the last lines of that song is essentially, we will meet again. Like, we're gonna see each other again. And Melia and Nia talk a lot about, well, the worlds may drift apart for a time, but I think there'll be, like, we're gonna come back together. So there's that kind of stuff, but also, I don't know, do we need to know where the Ouroboros came from? Because I feel like we know enough of where the Ouroboros came from.
Here's one thing I'm gonna say. What's the threat gonna be in the epilogue?
Okay, that's a fair point.
What's the threat gonna be? And are we gonna play as Kid Noah and Kid Lance and Kid Uni? Because there's still children there.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a time skip if they do an epilogue.
But
they're going to age them right back up to where they were.
The development there is lost.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Like, that's my point. It's all of the development is lost, so why are they going to try to completely redevelop those characters when you can introduce new characters?
You could argue that Ionios, Noah, Lance, and Uni's memories would have also been put into the kids when time resumes, because it was going through the origin, like the little cube things. So they would have those memories there. It would just be a matter of unlocking and bringing them back to the surface. So there's the potential is there for them to do it. They just have to actually do it and commit to it. But also, I would say, because, I mean, we can sit here and fight about prologue and epilogue all day, and Monolith could easily pull a quick one on us and say it takes place during the story. So
you play as Gondor.
You play as Gondor for a 25-hour expansion to the game. Which, that's another thing to consider, is they've done a prologue and they've done an epilogue.
Both are not amazing.
Yeah, they're not great, which I think there's going to be a lot, like, there needs to be a lot of hyping responsibly for this story DLC.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to go super far to one side or super far to the other side. What I think is most realistic is we end up with both. I
Maybe.
think it starts out as a prologue, and we
Half
get
prologue,
some of
half
that
epilogue.
founder stuff. But I also think that now that the worlds are drifted apart, in order to get any kind of founders DLC, you would then have to the worlds would have to, like, you would have to have Ionios, not one and
another
two.
Another thing you got to think is also they have to completely remake a new map
For an
if
epilogue?
if they're
Or
gonna
for-
if they're gonna do an epilogue.
Well,
Because here's the thing: the most they did with that was Torna. Torna was a new area, and Torna itself only had 2 areas. It was Torna and Gormott, and that was it, from what I remember. Where all of Future Connected was old stuff that
And
was just being
Biona's
remastered.
Shoulder.
Because Biona's Shoulder was originally going to be in the game, it just wasn't in the game.
Right.
Because it was originally going to. A lot of people, a lot of people theorize that that's where Colony 6 was originally going to be, but you know.
I mean, we also don't know how long it's been in development, because as
That's
you
also
see,
true.
when they announced in February, they said September and then bumped it up 3 months to July, which means that game was done when they announced it, or it was very close to being done when they announced it, to push it up like that.
Yeah.
So,
Which, once again, like, that is still really weird that this game was supposed to come out last month originally.
and you can tell it was supposed to come out last month because they've started doing a lot more promotional stuff
Yeah.
on Twitter and on YouTube. Like, they started dropping stuff that it was supposed to drop at the end of September,
Yeah.
and you can
And
tell
then they
from
just
that.
swapped it with Splatoon.
Which
I'm kind of glad, because like Splatoon is good, but I could tell Splatoon would have been very rushed.
Yeah. And I think we don't know how long they've been working on it. For all we know, let's assume that development was essentially done on the main game in February when they announced it. And this DLC doesn't come out till, I don't know, September, maybe, of next year. I don't think we're getting it any earlier than June or July.
I don't even think we're gonna. Well, I know we're gonna get it next year, but it's gonna be very late next year.
It's going to be late. I think it's going to be like September. Like, we're talking another year, which is also what makes me think there has to be more to this DLC.
Yeah.
Like, there has to be a 5th wave somewhere in there to go from, okay, well, we're getting wave 2 in October. We get wave 3
You also
in
have to
January.
you also have to look at the release time between Xenoblade 2 and Torna. Because
What was it? It was like a year, wasn't it? No, I think I did. It was 9 months.
Torna.
Because Torna came out in September, but 2
September
came out in
2018.
December.
And I know 2 came out in
2017.
December of 2017, yeah.
So it was 9 months. So if you go 9 months from July, although let's go from September, because that was their original deadline. So what is that? June?
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. And if you went from July, it would be March, which March feels way too soon to get story DLC. That's way too soon. So I think June, July, August.
That in March is just not a good time to release anything right now. Like,
I think it's safe to say story DLC would be revealed in an E3 Direct next year. Like, it would be thrown in there.
February and March are just absolutely stacked for next year.
Yeah. I think they definitely want to get Tears of the Kingdom out the door before they do this big story DLC for Xenoblade, because if it's anywhere near Tears of the Kingdom, it'll get so overblown.
Yep.
And no one will play it, myself included. Like, I'll get to it eventually, but Zelda's on a higher priority.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot of stuff coming out in February. I have Kirby. I have Yakuza coming out, because Yakuza's back. Because we got, I don't think 8. Yeah, 8's coming out. I don't remember when 8's coming out, but I got Yakuza Gaiden coming out. I got Yakuza Ishin coming out. that's all gonna be real good.
That's true. It seems that the powers that be would not want us to talk about DLC, but we're gonna do it anyway.
All right. Are you just gonna cut that out?
Yeah, I'm just gonna cut it and we're gonna keep going.
No, you need to put something there.
Oh yeah, I'll put like the glitch out to technical difficulties or something. So
just all right. We'll come back in like 3, 2, 1. All right, we're back, guys. Nick
oh my gosh,
died.
we're back.
Nick
only
died.
for a short period of time. It's okay. So yeah, I bring up the conversation about when they would have started developing it, because if they needed to make, not saying they're making a full scale like world map like they did for the base game, it would be like 1 or 2 areas, maybe.
Well, probably.
But also you have to think the main square area where we see Kid, Noah, and Uni and Lance has already been rendered. It's already there because it's in Ionios when you get to Keva's castle.
Yeah.
So that's already done. I would really like to see the Agnian trio as kids, although they weren't friends before. So they weren't friends before like Noah and Lance and Uni and Yorin. Nope. So I think my idealized prediction is that it's just an epilogue, and then we somehow bring in Shulk and Rex, because
but they're dead.
Minimum, no, they're not. Okay, well, yes, they are dead in the current timeline, but this is what I'm thinking, is it's an epilogue, but also a prologue, in the sense of the worlds are now apart, which means Shulk and Rex in their respective worlds are alive again.
How? They were dead beforehand.
Yes, but no, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
Okay, how could they have been mentors to the founders if they were dead when Ionios was created?
Because the founders were like 80 years before.
But there's no evidence to suggest that they were dead at the very beginning of Ionios, like 1,000 years before the main game.
Okay, you just defeated your argument by saying 1,000 years before the main game.
Right, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the game, when the worlds fall back apart, you go right to pre-Ionios.
I
so
see
therefore,
what you're
Shulk and Rex would not
about.
be dead.
I see what you're talking about. But who knows? We don't know if they were dead beforehand, like before the worlds fused. Because it's the thing, the Ouroboros statues were made as a remembrance to them. So it's like they might be dead beforehand, which would make sense because the Hyentia and the Napon live longer than Homs or just the humans from Xenoblade 2.
That's true, but also I feel like they would not pass on the opportunity to let Shulk and Rex kick some Mobius ass. Like,
I mean,
it's
and
too
you
marketable.
Would get that in the prologue,
right? And here's what I'm saying: is it's a prologue in the sense that we see Shulk and Rex before the worlds fuse, and the whole purpose of the story DLC is to properly fuse the worlds like they're supposed to be. Because here's the thing: you can say that we back them up, but at the end of the day, the whole inciting incident of that is that they're being drawn back together. So if you don't properly fuse them back together, we're just going to end up with Xenoblade 3 again. Because they're going to go apart.
Or Xenoblade 4.
And then they're going to come back together. And then they're going to go apart.
Go back apart.
Come back together.
That's the cycle.
It's a bigger endless now. Think about it. It's an endless cycle. Klaus's experiment is an endless cycle. Hey, yo. Big brain.
Hold on. So, this is, this is why, we filmed this in, October, because I don't know if you guys know, but it is actually, it is actually, Throw Short People Month.
Well, come throw me then. Just all I'm saying.
I will.
It's got to be an epilogue. I'm telling you.
It's not going to be an epilogue.
It's got to be, because if it's a prologue, then they don't actually resolve anything. okay, do you agree or disagree that the end of the game is conclusive to the Xenoblade trilogy as a whole? Do you think it serves as an ending to the Xenoblade trilogy?
Personally, I would say it is. Because it has that aspect of every single game has their own stories that have concluded. And that every single chapter of the Xenoblade Chronicles
the Xenoblade Chronicles, if you will,
has concluded with, the world's being set back in motion. And with, they're back in their own worlds and stuff like that. And, you get a look back to how Future Connected ended with Melia, and how that's how Xenoblade 1's story ended. And with the end of Xenoblade 2, that's how it ended, with every hotel got the cuck chair. But anyway.
Right.
Like, I think it's just it's conclusive for every single chapter of it.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. I just think it's weird that they build this game as the conclusion to the Xenoblade Chronicles, but yet it's a conclusion to its own game, not the series as a whole, which I think is what is implied and expected from a comment like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how, like, The Rise of Skywalker was billed as this is the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, not just the original, or not just the sequel trilogy. And I don't want to get started on that, but as an example, that's what it was billed as. Whether it was that or not is up for interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of my reasoning for an epilogue, but also I really want to see everybody get back together. It really bothers me that they're not together.
I want to see the original Ouroboros.
I get that.
I want to see the guy. I want to see the guy from Xenogears. I want to see the guy who looks like the guy from Xenogears. I want to see the other people that were there, like the one person who looks a lot like just straight up young Shulk, and interact.
I want to see
Shulk.
Like
that's who I want to see. I want to see Shulk. That was my biggest issue.
I want to see Rex and Pyra and Mithra and
it was like I don't care to see them, but like
I don't care about that.
That was my biggest issue with the game. Another big issue with the game for me was that I felt Xenoblade 1 was super underrepresented because we just only got to see Melia.
We got Melia, and that was it.
That game, like, that's all we really got to see. We didn't get to see anybody else. Where with Xenoblade 2, we got to see Nia, we got to see the entire party, including Azurta, but we didn't get to see anyone from Xenoblade 1, and it's just like, why?
Because like, no,
like we only get to see the Monado. Like, really?
Yeah, I really think a combination is what they would go for if they did. I don't think they would lean too far in either direction.
I'm at the Taco Bell. I'm at the combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Yes. Pizza Hut is a prologue and Taco Bell is the epilogue. We're at the combination of both.
Taco Bell is always the epilogue.
Yeah, I think the combination of a prologue and an epilogue is the more likely scenario, because
I could see it.
I also don't want it to be super fan servicey.
Yeah, like
I don't want it to just be,
something...
oh my gosh, look, there's Shulk and there's Rex and there's all these other characters that you already know, and that's it, and boom, we're done.
Like that was the thing I was happy about with 3, was that 3 was not too fan servicey when it came to that stuff.
It wasn't the Avengers Endgame of Xenoblade.
Like, yeah, and it wasn't in your face. It was just like, hey, look, there's the Bionis head. Hey, look, there's the Makanis hand. Hey, look, there's that big sword.
There's that giant freaking sword.
And hey, look, there's Uriah, which I'm still kind of sad you never got to go, like, under the jaw of Uriah. But I was happy you got to go inside of Uriah, which is what you get to do in 2.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
The Orion tunnels. Yeah, I guess we'll be forever diametrically opposed until they actually release the DLC.
Yep. Who knows? Maybe this will be your time to actually be right about something. Hey, remember
I
when
know,
we said
right?
Breath of the Wild 2 is going to come
Shut
out
up.
in 2022?
Shut up. Hey, they said it was going to come out in 2022. Can you fault me? Nintendo said it was coming out in 2022.
Nintendo has said a lot of things that everyone knew wasn't true.
That's true. I'll give you that.
Like, hey, remember when Metroid Prime 4 was happening?
Remember when Xenoblade was supposed to come out in September? And then it didn't happen?
Yeah.
Came out in July instead? It's crazy, ain't it?
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Okay. I don't want to say too much about it, but there was some stuff in the art book that makes me want to lean more to a prologue. Just from some stuff that was in the art book. Because there was some
I'll have it by this month. I know that.
There's some pretty cool stuff in there. But also there's some stuff in there that I really want to see. Like, I would love for, if they do an epilogue, I would want it to start off with Mio as a kid instead of Noah.
Yeah.
And start it off with Mio and then have them reunite. I think at the bare minimum, they're going to reunite Noah and Mio. I don't think they cannot do that. So I think that's the bare minimum. Getting the other four together is a little bit more of an insurmountable task, because then, like you said, you have to age everybody up and somehow get those memories back and that development and like all that.
Or you could just do what Future Connected did, and you just
have them not be there.
You just have two people from the original game, and then you got, hey, look, we got kids.
Hey, yo,
dude, Ricky, put the dick down. Put the dick down,
Put it
Ricky.
down.
Put the dick down, Rex.
No.
Okay. Still, put the dick down.
No, he can't. He physically can't. It's too late for Rex. So, yeah, that's all. That's my thing about the DLC. We'll see what it is. My last note is, where do you think Xenoblade Chronicles goes from here?
Once again, I really hope it just kind of is done. I hope Xenoblade is done. I hope we move on to the next Xeno series.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely outcome. I know Monolith was working on a new IP at some point, which may still be its own thing, or they might say, you know what, screw it. We're going Xeno fantasy, and we're going to the medieval times with Xeno now. And that's what it is. I
don't think they'll ever do that. Like, that is the thing they've never done.
No, because Xenoblade Xeno has always been attributed with the somewhat futuristic steampunk, that's what it is. Also, I have a bone to pick with you. Do you remember when I showed you that story idea like 3 years ago when we were first becoming friends, and you told me it was a bad idea because I was trying to mix fantasy with high tech? I raise you the Xenoblade Chronicles trilogy to show that it can be done as a proof of concept. I thought of that the other day.
I don't remember that.
It's fine. So yeah, we're at 2 hours and 32 minutes. Longest episode of the podcast, but it's okay. Cause do you think we'll get a Xenoblade Warriors game?
No.
I
honestly
want one.
wouldn't want it. I like Warriors games, but I really would not like it.
I want one. Nintendo, do it, please. There's enough characters for it now.
Okay. Actually, no. I raise you this. I would really like it if they do it like they did with Strikers. With Persona 5 Strikers.
Where it's like Persona a story 5, continuation?
Where it is somewhat like a story. Because the thing is, most of the time the story games and Warriors games or story in Warriors games is really bad. But
Age of Calamity.
Strikers actually didn't have a terrible story. It's just a lot of the concepts from Persona 5 just got repeated a lot. But it gave a lot of the characters who didn't get a lot of character development.
Yeah.
So I think that could help. But also, like, the thing I still love about Strikers is that the soundtrack is just banging throughout the entirety.
If they did it like that, though, which game would they do? I guess 3, because it's the most recent one.
All 3.
Like, just combine all 3. That's the epilogue, actually. The story DLC.
That's what a lot of Warriors games do. Is they'll combine a lot of them.
The story DLC is actually finding out why Tyon is number 4 on Uni's best friend list.
No. The actual story is finding out what time it is. Because you know what time it is.
It's rhyme.
It's rhyme time, baby.
These truly have been the Xenoblade Chronicles. Well, that's all I have about Xenoblade. Well, I'm sure we'll be here.
So you guys want to talk about Persona 5?
Yes, when I finish Persona 5, we can do a whole episode on Persona 5.
It's a great game. It's really good, especially your first time through. It's a great game. It's real good. Like, the thing about it that's really, really good is it's super open to playing for the first time. Unless you have a ton of people who like to gatekeep you. I'm sorry, I don't like you.
Yeah, gatekeepers. By the way, Xenoblade has a really big issue with gatekeepers.
It really does.
People who are like, no, you can't play Xenoblade Chronicles 3 unless you've 100%ed Xenoblade 1, 2, X, and every Xenosaga game there is, okay? And then there's me, who's like, if you want to play Xenoblade 3, play it. It's a good game. Would I advise that you play 1 and 2 first? Yes. But if you don't want to put 100 hours into 2 other games just to play 1, then go ahead and play 3. And then go back and play the other 2.
I raise you this. You want a game that has some really neat gameplay.
If you pull out the Persona 5 case, I swear to God.
No. Yeah, really good, really cool gameplay. And a really, really interesting story. And that also has a shit ton of protagonists. 13 Sentinels Aegis
You did
Rim.
it again!
13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is an amazing game.
Hey.
You should play it. It's on Switch.
Oh, I was going to say, it is on Switch.
It's on Switch. It's on PS4. It's a great game. Like,
What kind of game is it?
it is a cross between a visual novel and a real-time strategy game.
What's
not
the
like
name of the game?
Xenoblade. Like not like Xenoblade, but like tower defense real-time strategy. It's a really good game.
Tower defense?
It's kind of like tower defense. It's really, really cool. You don't play a lot of the tower defense stuff. You mainly go through the story, but it's really cool because it has a really cool balance of that, and it's a huge mystery game. It's really interesting. The cool thing about that game is that every single time it answers one question, you have 5 more questions after that, and it keeps
that sounds about right.
It keeps you interested, and it's a really cool game. I played it in less than 3 days, and I was like, "Yo, this game's awesome!" And I played it's only 30 hours. About I almost said 3 times 10 hours, but it's okay. That's not Kingdom Hearts, but
Come on,
it's
spell
really
it
cool.
for me. I don't know how to spell Sentinel. Damn it. There we go.
Anyway.
I found
13 Sentinels. Great game. It's on Switch. It's really cool. I would recommend playing it on Switch because, man, that game is so much easier to play on Switch. Another game that's really easy to play on Switch, Valhalla. It's a really cool game. Has a banging soundtrack.
I thought you were going to say
awesome.
Persona 5 Royal.
Valhalla. That's not how it's spelled. It is spelled VA-11 Hala.
Holla.
Well, actually, no. VA-11 Hall-A. It's really good. It's a bartender simulator, and it's really cool.
Oh, yes.
I haven't
Game of the
finished
year.
it. I haven't finished it. I wanted to play it, but I can't bring myself to finish the game. But it's really cool, and I'd recommend playing it on Switch. Anyway, what?
Okay, last thing. Do you think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will be nominated for Game of the Year?
I hope it is. If not, I hope Best RPG.
Yeah, I think I'd have to look through the categories last year, but I think it could get nominated for Game of the Year, Best Soundtrack, and Best RPG.
Like,
I think it
hope
could
it
be
gets
up for all three
nominated.
of
I
those.
don't think it's gonna win. I think Elden Ring. I think Elden
I
Ring
don't
is
think
gonna
it'll
take
win either.
Game of the Year.
But if it gets nominated for Game of the Year, then the orchestra will do a piece of the Xenoblade music, which having that at all, I'll take it. I'll take that. Even just to say, Xenoblade 3 got nominated for Game of the Year is a big deal.
Hey,
So-
at least we know Monolith Soft is not cocky enough to say they've already won an award and send out copies of a certain thing and say, "Hey, we already won this," and then they didn't
Who did
win,
that?
and it was really funny. Disney.
When did they do that?
Disney did that with Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Oh, that's right.
Because they literally were like, it was nominated for I think it was up against Spider-Verse, and it was like
Oh, yeah, they were going to lose that one.
and it was nominated for Best Animated Film, and they were so cocky that they thought it was going to win, and so they had already printed out Best Animated Film on the box, and then they didn't win. And so it was really awkward.
Yeah, that's an L. That's a fat L on Disney's part. But hey, they can suck it, okay? Because Disney kind of sucks. So that's big facts. That's all I have on the Xenoblade Chronicles. I don't want to, we're already at 2 hours and 40 minutes. God rest my soul when editing this. I was going to edit it tomorrow because I thought it would be like an hour long. But, oh, how mistaken was I? But yeah, if this reaches the right crowd, listen, Xenoblade fans have nothing better to do. Then sit and listen while they're playing through Xenoblade 3 again. I will say, I think if Xenoblade gets nominated for Game of the Year, I think we could potentially see a trailer for DLC Wave 3. Maybe. Potentially. So, that's all I have. I'll go ahead and do my closing spiel. If you guys want to follow us on Instagram, it's at Joystick Drift Pod. You can check us out here on YouTube, the Joystick Drift Podcast, on Spotify, Apple, Anchor, all the major listening platforms are the Joystick Drift Podcast. We're doing great things. There'll be another episode this time next week. I don't know what we're doing yet because that starts the November schedule, and we haven't finalized the November schedule yet. So, yeah, with that being said, leave us a 5-star review, rating. We'll read it on the podcast. With all that being said, thank you for listening. If you made it all the way
I have
through,
one last question.
What?
Does he?
Yes.
All right, you're on the right side of history.
Thank you guys for
Leave a
listening
comment down below on if he does or not.
2 hours and 40-minute podcast about Xenoblade Chronicles. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time. Peace out.